Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 88. We are back actually in the basement again, no longer at the kitchen table this week. We're here to bring you a completely COVID-free episode of FNS Wrestling, right?
Probably.
So we are free of COVID, tested negative a bunch of times.
Yep.
Safe to share the same tiny space and contaminate the air together. So that's lovely. I think obviously lingering, you can probably hear, I don't think either of our voices sound perfect yet, but definitely better than last week, right? So if you were able to get through 87B last week, then you'll probably be okay for 88. Appreciate anyone that did listen last week and got through that. I know I got some feedback that people were listening, so that's good. I don't know, what's new with you, other than you made your first ever sports team at school. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Kind of on a technicality.
You might have made it anyways, who knows?
Yeah, but
made the badminton squad,
took the easy route, yes.
That's cool. Gonna be playing some doubles, and badminton's one of my specialties, so that's good. You stayed after school today to get a little bonus training in. You're lucky to have Dad with the key to the gym, man.
Yep.
You can get in there anytime and practice, so that's pretty exciting. What else? What else is new with you? You got a haircut?
Yeah.
Maybe that's not new.
No, that would have been new the last week.
Your grandfather's 70th birthday party was last week that I didn't go to, but you did. And had fun.
I think that was before 87B.
Was it?
Yeah, because remember we did on the Sunday
because
of
you're
that.
Right. You're right. That is true. So never mind. Forget I said that.
We went up to his actual place on Wednesday.
We went to his house, all of us, without COVID.
Which was an inclement weather day.
Oh yeah, we had freezing rain and stuff here. So I think we've talked about it before. They now just close schools.
Right.
When buses are canceled, so that meant a day off for everybody. And then we headed down to your grandfather's house because the weather ended up not being bad. I mean, it was super windy and rainy, but nothing crazy. And hung out with him for his 70th, and the dog, the big old German Shepherd. And your aunts and uncles came, which is nice. And you're, I think, seeing your aunts and uncles again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which is fun, right?
Or at least mainly.
Well, I think now the plan is you're coming for lunch with Mom and I.
Is that the Chinese food, right?
Yes, and then Phil's taking you to his place.
Woo.
With him. Sorry,
Chinese food.
We're discussing our Saturday activities live.
Specifically wanted to go because Chinese food.
I know you love it's like legit Chinese food, so it's delicious. But anyways, that's
Chinesiest of Chinese foods.
It is. It's quite good. I don't know what else is new with me. Nothing really. Another week of work is done. Another week of school is done. I'm back to working full time. Feels pretty good. Got through a couple weeks.
Right, this was the first because last week was March. Yeah, last week was March break. Okay.
Yeah, so this was my first week back full time after healing from my slipped disc or whatever it was that was torturing me for a good month and a bit there, but yeah, feeling pretty good.
Could call it a case of human oldness.
It definitely is. Just a lot of extra stretching. Anytime I have free time, I'm down on the floor stretching. But anyways, still feels pretty good. So I don't know what else you got to say. Anything exciting? Anything new in the world of Marvel? New world of Star Wars? You showed me the trailer for
Kenobi.
Yeah, looks pretty fun.
I can't remember those. Yeah, but so that's May 25th show. Well, as of the recording of this podcast, we are a week exactly from the release date of Morbius, featuring Jared Leto, or as I like to call him sometimes, Laird Jetto. So the critic reviews are not too hot. Some would say very not good. But
doesn't mean you won't enjoy it.
I still have hopes for it. I mean, I never expected it to be anything like. It's pretty minor compared to the Marvel Studios stuff because this is just a Sony Marvel project.
Right.
So it'll probably be like mid to maybe kind of good, but it's not going to be like anything. I think Keaton's now only in the credit scenes, which kind of sucks, but
you might enjoy it. Sometimes critics don't like things,
and also I like things that people don't like.
Speaking of liking things people don't like, I got tangled up in a thread of absolute love for current NXT. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, that's weird.
And I kept scrolling because it was basically like, here's a little summary for people who stopped watching it and might want to get back into it. And then it was like I got caught reading comment after comment because I'm like, where are the people that don't like? And it was everybody like, oh, it's really fun. It's the best thing. Best wrestling show each week. I look forward to Tuesdays. And I'm just like, how many people working for this program are putting comments in here?
Yeah. Also, next Wednesday is the start of Moon Knight. New Marvel show featuring Oscar Isaac, who would Poe Dameron.
Yes. Cool.
So that looks really good actually.
Nice.
So that'd be kind of, you could watch that if you want, but probably weird.
Probably weird.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, just because
I'm not up on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I'm sure
an
you
interesting
could explain
concept,
it to me.
but yeah. Well, I guess it doesn't connect to us, but so that looks really good. And then, yeah, I need to find people's things to put in Jello because Friday is April 1st. So
that's still your plan.
Yes, the goal would be various people, but I will settle for one.
All right. Well,
so
it's good to have goals. Attainable goals are important.
Steal small possessions that are easily fit in Jello.
But not destroyed by Jello, because we don't want to destroy people's stuff.
Maybe we do.
Well, you might want to, but you should. But anyways, I don't know. I'm ready to talk about wrestling. Are you?
Yep.
Got a busy week of stuff this week. We're back. I think we've got most of our usual stuff this time. So I say we get started and talk about some... First thing is usually news and rumors, so I say we do that right now. So ratings-wise, we've got Tuesday's live edition of NXT 2.0, drew 628,000 viewers, so basically the same as last week, up 0.64%, and earned a 0.14 in the key demographic, which is exactly the same as last week. So the decent ratings that they got held steady this week, and it's the best audience since January 11th and the third best of this year altogether. So solid numbers for them, and obviously if whatever network they're on, what network are they on? USA?
USA.
If they're happy with the ratings so far, they'll be happy with that one, I guess, too, because it's in line with or slightly better than most of their ratings. And then Wednesday's live edition of AEW Dynamite got back up over 1 million viewers with 1.046. So they picked up about 5.34% from the week before and earned a 0.41 in the key demo, which was up almost 8%. So it's the highest key demo rating and total viewership since February 9th. So that's a nice number for them as well. As I always say, I like to see them up over 1 million. So pretty solid ratings for both of those shows this week. And I didn't bother with Impact after their record low, what was it, 68,000 that they did last week.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll come back to them at some other point. But what do you have for us?
So Triple H has retired from in-ring competition, so
yeah,
that's either cool or something that does not matter at all.
Or it's a giant work and he's going to do one more match or one more run.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Because retired in WWE means, well, in wrestling, right?
It's either cool that would be a big deal. It's either a big deal or a sham.
Right. Oh, I don't know if it's a big deal if he's actually retired. He should be, right? He's got heart condition. He's getting old.
Well, because it's Triple H.
I just think part of it will be his own vanity, because I think if he can't get himself into shape that he approves of or thinks is good enough, like, I don't think he'll, you know what I mean?
Probably, yeah.
And I'm not saying that's a terrible way to be, but I just think he has a certain standard of his own physical appearance, and if he can't get back there, with that condition, maybe he can't train hard enough, or just by age or whatever, that he may not be on TV other than like a whatever authority role. But anyways, it doesn't matter to me. He should be done.
Leader of the authority.
Can't bury anyone else, you know. What do I have?
You can find a way.
Josh Woods will defend the pure.
Goods.
The Goods Woods will defend the pure title against Wheeler Yuta at Supercard of Honor.
The bestest friend.
So already some more AEW and Ring of Honor although Yuta was in Ring of Honor as well. But
back in the pure tournament, right?
So, yes, that's right. Josh Woods is an absolute beast. I don't love all of his matches because he does do a lot of realistic amateur wrestling stuff, which isn't my favorite, but the man is a monster, and he should contrast well with Yuta, so it could be a pretty interesting match, actually. It's one I don't mind being there.
Did you see there's Swerve versus Alex Zane?
Oh, yeah, that should be awesome, too, right? That should be... I'm probably going to check out that show, to be honest. I don't know if you want to do a bonus episode or not, how much it interests you. But
I really hope that they brought back Taylor Russ, but
I knew
I'll still watch it.
I knew that was coming.
I'll still watch it, regardless,
I'm interested,
I like Swerve.
And just to see new ROH and what it's going to look like and where they're going, I'm curious.
I feel like this will be like the last time, and then it's like we'll see actually what the AEW ROH will be, because I feel like this is like...
They'll hold on to
it was already kind of planned before the buyout.
That's true.
Well, like, not a lot of the matches, but there's Gresham Bandito for the...
But, I mean, even what's it going to look like, right? It might look different. It might feel different.
Oh, yeah, they might have a better budget now, right?
Might be different commentary. Like, I don't know if it's Riccaboni.
I hope they have, like, a better set and whatnot. Like, because now with AEW backing them, they could totally do a lot better.
Because for years, one of my big problems with ROH was production value, right? So that should no longer be a problem with Tony Khan's deep pockets.
Mm-hmm.
What else you got?
So we have Pete Dunne's quote-unquote thoughts on Butch.
I'm sorry, who?
Name change and...
I do not know this Pete Dunne person.
Butch's thoughts on butching.
Poor Pete Dunne.
Butchering
sorry,
people.
Pete Dunne. And what were his thoughts?
So I got 2 extensive quotes. So first one, Pete Dunne being, the thing is, to me, whether it's a name change or whatever changes, that's not what really endeared me to the audience in the first place, right? I'd like to think, anyways, the quality of the in-ring work, and that's what I'm going to keep the same on main roster. I highly doubt it,
Right.
of course. And it's going to get better. It's going to improve as time goes. And then the second one is, it's exciting. I've been in NXT for 5 years now, so time to change it up and see what we can do and push it forward with a new challenge. It's exciting, but it's also a little bit different. Little bit.
Yeah.
I think it's time to change it up a little bit. 5 years, fresh start, and why not try something a little new? It's more than a little new, more than a little bit.
Well, I mean, that's one of those things, like, what's he going to say, right? We're not
Right.
going to get his true
I don't think
thoughts
he's
on
trying
it.
to burn any bridges
Right.
or anything. So.
Not while he's working there. He can't say anything, right? So once he's released, which is inevitable.
Yep. I want that.
Me too.
Like,
He might want that at this point, I would think. But yeah, he can't really be honest if he hates it at this point. You can't.
yeah, I just
say
think that's
anything.
interesting because how do you not hate that?
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he dislikes it more than he's saying there, right? I would assume.
I can't. If he doesn't, then I don't know if I like him as a person.
2 new bouts announced for Impact Wrestling's multiverse of matches. Did you
Oh,
hear
I
about
saw
this?
one.
Which is
I
what?
don't remember. It was a tag match.
Okay, so that is
it was the mixed tag match.
right. So that is Impact Digital Media Champion, and it's funny, NWA champion, right? Matt Cardona,
NWA World's Heavyweight Champion,
and his wife Chelsea Green, not Rachel Green, as I tend to call her, because I'm dumb.
Hot mess.
They will face. She is seeming to turn. I was right about her heel turn, but anyways, they will face Nick Aldis and his wife Mickie James at that show, and it's funny because they're billing it as Impact versus NWA, even though Cardona, is the NWA World Heavyweight Champion.
Also, Green was in NWA too a bit. Like she won some sort of women's thing at the women's show.
And
won some gauntlet or something.
And Mickie James has been on Impact for months now,
and
as well.
she was also in NWA a bit, but like. So they've all got ties in both spots.
Except Aldis,
Except
really.
Aldis, but Magnus.
He was there back in the
okay,
day for
Magnus,
TNA wrestling.
British Invasion.
Yes, that's
all
right. With Doug Williams, who's
the
awesome.
greatest world champion of all time.
I like Doug Williams.
He almost teamed with Doug
Theory.
Williams.
Amazing move. Loved it.
He almost teamed with Doug Williams in the Crockett Cup, but then he was challenging Cardona, so Doug Williams went with the greatest tag team specialist of all time, former WWE Tag Team Champion, D.H. Smith.
Awesome. David Hart Smith, eh?
Yeah, David Boy Smith Jr.
What else you got for us? I've got, 1, 2, 3 more. Look at me.
So,
busy boy.
Hall of Fame stuff. Shad Gaspard to receive the prestigious Warrior Award.
Yeah, too bad it's named after Warrior because he's an absolute dirtbag and I wouldn't accept anything with his name on it. But nice that they're going to honor Shad because by all accounts, he's a pretty awesome dude, right? And
was
unfortunate, untimely death. So it's nice that they're going to honor him.
That was 2020, yeah.
It was a while ago for sure. Yeah.
I want to say it was 2020. I want to say it was 2020.
And we talked about Charmel being in, right? I don't know if I laughed hard enough.
Oh yeah.
Like what a joke.
How can you go with like someone like Undertaker or even Vader because they include like WCW legacy, right?
Yeah,
so
of course.
Vader makes sense. And then you go to Charmel. How does that work?
It's because I've seen people get angry and like worked up about it. Like their Hall of Fame is a joke, and if you don't know that already, like it's just them putting in whoever they want, whatever's convenient.
Like someone like in like Teddy Long or I don't know if they did Bischoff or like Coco Beware.
Yeah.
Like that's probably one that a lot of people would go like.
Someone I was listening to or reading was talking about now that will forever be his new example of the worst person in the Hall of Fame. Move over Coco Beware because here comes Charmel, basically, kind of idea.
Right, or like Donald Trump got like a celebrity wing induction,
right.
or like I don't. Yeah, there's like a lot of questionable choices. Like I don't know how you can like call it a legitimate. Like sure you got like you're going with Undertaker, which is an obvious choice.
Of course. First ballot in any wrestling Hall of Fame, right? Like that's not controversial in any way.
But then you go to someone like Charmel, right? Like,
very controversial.
It's just a real like stark contrast, which just doesn't.
But they tend to always want to induct like a clear first ballot Hall of Famer, then someone a tier below that, and then
which
you
is
know
Vader.
What I mean? And then they seem to always work their way down.
Yeah, I think it's weird. Like I understand like Booker T, like, but like. Is it because she managed Booker T and
I guess
like,
that's all she did.
2006?
She was a Nitro girl. back in the day.
Okay, then
right?
okay, problem solved then, right? Then why not induct like Stacy
So
Keibler or something?
Now we know she's qualified.
Yeah, why not go with like
I
Stacy
don't know.
Keibler or whatever? Like, I don't know. It's just
They
weird.
do whatever suits them, and I think it's partly like they also consider who's going to induct them. Oh, we'll get Booker T up there, perfect, right? So they like that probably.
Right. No, I thought it would be Stevie Ray, but
Could be.
or like another thing is like sometimes there's people who are like 2-time Hall of Famers like Booker T for
Yes.
Harlem P, which is kind of weird, but at the same time, like, what's the loophole around that? Like, you can't induct Stevie Ray by himself.
Well, it's
you know
almost
what I mean?
like you're going to be inducting Booker T again, right? Because everything Charmel did was with Booker T. She didn't do anything, I don't think, independently. So it's almost.
Whoa. Are you trying to say Booker T was a Nitro Girl?
Right. And Charmel's also half of the worst match ever, I think. In TNA against non-wrestler person.
I've heard about that.
Oh, buddy, it's something.
Yeah, I know.
It is a banger.
I should know.
It's worth watching just because it's like a sheer awfulness for however many minutes it is.
I assume she got in the Hall of Fame sheerly based off of the program her and Booker T had with the Boogeyman.
Well, they love those Guinness records, so if she has the Guinness record for worst match of all time, that's...
Or the Guinness record for dumbest Hall of Fame induction.
Amazing. Anyways, enough talk about Charmel. So if you can believe Tony Khan, and you usually can, he's not one for misleading us. He may, like, overhype some things, but...
Well, he misleads us all the time. Oh, no, sorry, that's the other guy.
The other guy.
Yeah, my bad.
So apparently it looks like there will be several female wrestlers joining AEW soon.
Cool.
So on an appearance, I don't think you'll think cool when you hear who the speculation is, but of one of them. No.
Tony Storm.
On an appearance on Strong Style Live, when asked if he has eyes on female wrestlers on the free agent market, Khan said yes. I'm not going to say who, but yes. It's a good question, and without naming any specific names or spoiling anything, I will tell you yes. And as for when and where, I suggest you watch Rampage tonight, so last night, for more info. So speculation is that Tony Storm is the person who is one of the ones possibly signing.
But she sucks.
I don't know, like, she's not...
She sucks.
She was bad in NXT, I will give you that, but I don't think she's bad. There was something weird there, I don't know what it was, but
no, how do you be bad in NXT? That was the best women's division they had.
I've seen her be good, though. That's what I'm saying.
Like, twice.
So that means she's capable.
With a good opponent.
I don't know, because she had some good opponents in NXT and wasn't good, so I don't know what the problem was, but hopefully she figures out maybe she was injured, maybe she was
using
mental
her
health
butt
issues.
in her offense too much.
But anyways, we'll find out. What do you got?
Is a waste, Tony Khan. Stop being stupid.
They need women, so...
Yeah, but not Tony Storm.
Anyways, carry on. What else you got?
If there's someone
who
needs
needs Tony Storm,
then they probably could also use a trash bag with blonde hair.
You know who I forgot is even there because she's dropped off the face of the earth?
Big Swole.
Ruby Riott. No, Big Swole got released. Remember, that was a whole thing? But Ruby Soho.
Because she sucks.
Well, I didn't think she was very good, but...
Yeah, no, she hasn't been doing much lately. Well, here's what you do. You don't hire Tony Storm. You instead wait for the next round of budget cuts.
So Baszler's
You
gone.
hope Baszler's in there.
No, I would love that.
And then you sign her. And if Shotzi Blackheart gets released, you don't sign her either.
Oh, they would.
And that would be stupid because you just signed Jeff Hardy. So if you were to sign Shotzi Blackheart too, that would be dumb.
Right. More news? Moving on, or we're going to be here for 10 hours.
WWE had made plans to have NWO appear at WrestleMania 38. That is since...
Why?
Deceased.
Just kidding. I know. I'm joking.
Those plans have withered away before Scott Hall's unfortunate passing.
Yeah, R.I.P. Scott Hall. You were pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
MJF, we talked about this a little bit, talking to Ariel Helwani, right?
What kind of name is that?
And I think some people don't understand that he's not being serious here, and people think that this is actually him, like, giving his opinion on WWE. But anyways, here's some quotes that made me laugh. See, I think WWE is doing great, MJF said. I love everything WWE is doing. I think we, AEW, are fresh, and we have fresh faces that people haven't seen before. I think everything right now that Bruce Pritchard and Vince are putting out there is absolutely incredible. I love it. Going on, I love NXT 2.0. No, you don't. I love Raw. I love SmackDown. I love what Roman's doing. Roman's putting out some great, some work maybe. Paul Heyman, a fellow member of the tribe, absolutely killing it. Sorry about what's going on with Brock. You deserve better than that. I think that they're putting out a great product. So
Well, I have to agree.
I think that's shots fired, but some people seem to think he's being honest there, but I don't. I think that's basically the opposite of everything he said. Although I don't know about the Roman praise and stuff. Although that story too hasn't, like, it was such a good story, the Roman, like the tribal chief thing, and then it just never evolved after the Usos got involved, and it's just the same thing,
It's
right?
just like stuck in place.
So they had a mate, and that's the thing, right? Like, just beat that dead horse, WWE. They're like, oh my God, something actually got over, so just keep doing the exact same thing forever, right? And people just got tired of it.
Right, there's no
evolution, there's no
end
development.
game.
It's just same thing. People cheered for it for a few weeks, so keep doing it. Anyways, what else? Yeah, I only have one more after this.
There's no like end game.
No.
So as we saw a thing that like it might be the Austin Owens segment to close out night one. But now it's seeming like it will be Flair versus Rousey to close out night one, and Austin versus Owens will not.
That makes sense because it's not a match, so it's hard to close out a show with an angle or a segment. Right. But
well, and the thing is, for me, like now, like obviously night 2 is a bigger one, so I don't think women will be main eventing there now. But like with 2 nights of Mania, you have 2 Rumbles. You give each Rumble winner a main event spot, which is what it's always supposed to be, right?
In theory, I think so.
Right,
yeah.
like, I mean, sure, you've had cases where Rollins wins the Rumble and opens the show, but, like, generally speaking, the Rumble winner is supposed to main event. Well, I guess at least Lynch main event.
That's what they tell us, right?
Right, that's what they always say. So this theoretically allows for that to be the case for both.
Right.
I mean, obviously, like, I think they purposely go out of their way to not say, like, that the women winner will main event Mania because it's never like a given.
Right.
So, but like I think at least as far as the men's Rumble goes, it's always meant to be like they main event Mania, and so now they could at least like make it true for both Rumbles, whether it's supposed to always be that case or not.
Although Austin's probably going to get the biggest reaction of the weekend, I would assume, but
I could see Cody.
Me being devoid of nostalgia, pretty much, I don't care. I have
apparently the goal with Cody is to replicate the way they did the Hardy Boys surprise at 33.
I liken my not loving like older people wrestling to like any other sport, right? Like, do I want to see Michael Jordan come play basketball at 50 or whatever?
Yes.
Not really, right? Would I rather see a young basketball player in their prime? Yes, of course I would. And that carries over to wrestling for me. I just don't want to see people who've been retired and are well past their prime. I'm not interested. I don't know. I think we're both like that, and we're both kind of weird like that because people seem to love it, right? But I just
I always love it. Okay, I have
no interest.
Always gone to bat for Goldberg. I think he's one of the best things they do. And honestly,
what a technician, even in his 50s.
I think what Edge is doing is really cool too. And honestly, huge Brock Lesnar fan too.
And Edge can still wrestle, but I don't care. I've seen you wrestle for 30 years or whatever. Maybe not.
I don't even care about his new gimmick.
I don't care.
Yeah. I don't even know what it is other than he's heel and he's got purple lights because Undertaker's retired, so someone else has to do it.
My final one is AEW. Did you see this? Filed for 2 new trademarks this week.
I saw WWE also did. It's something like WWE Grand Court or something.
You ready for one?
Are you ready?
You're either going to like it. I think you're going to like it. They have filed for
Tony Time.
Undisputed Elite.
Nice.
Right. I thought you'd like that one. And the final one, I think is more related to merchandise and video game use, is AEW : Fight Forever.
That'd be a cool game name.
So yeah, the Undisputed Elite one gives you an idea of maybe storyline stuff going forward, right? But
you can still do the thing with your hands.
Exactly, same gesture. And I don't know if you can trademark like maybe you could say that's intellectual property. I don't know how it works. I'm not an attorney.
Well, that's good because I've mastered the hand gesture. It's super good.
Do you have any other news?
No, I don't.
All right, so let us get this train rolling into some actual review of a show from this week. That's taking a look at this week's AEW Dynamite.
When we opened the show, for some reason, I don't know why, but it happened. CM Punk versus Scott Dawson of FTR.
Sorry, who?
Scott Dawson.
Wow. Wow.
Oh my God. Dax Harwood.
That is a very much a dad thing to do. That is my move.
I even wrote that.
Yeah, you're bad. You're cut. Taking auditions for a new podcast partner. This kid knows nothing about wrestling anymore, so
I'm confused.
Contact us at fnswrestling@gmail.com if you'd like to be my new co-host. Yep. I'll even adopt you because it's kind of FNS stands for father and son, so you gotta get in the family.
I will
You
accept
can be
it
replaced.
too, as long as I get
You
half
deserve
of
it.
all
Do you know-
royalties. I get half of all royalties.
half of nothing's nothing, so enjoy.
Yeah. Well,
Anyways,
eventual royalties. What do you mean?
Scott Dawson, that is really weird for you.
Oh, okay. Wait, what if
You're becoming me? COVID brain.
Yeah.
Lingering,
we'll blame it
lingering
on
effects.
COVID. Just that
Could be.
Scott Dawson isn't a part of COVID, like something, or like you mess up stuff.
You lose your short-term memory, and you rely on your long-term memory from COVID. So you're pulling back to
2016.
Right. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
In a competitive opener, after an early back and forth to get more holds and counters, there was a pendulum backbreaker by Dax. Later on, a strike exchange with Punk getting the better Dax with a single leg drop kick. Later on, Punk looks for the diving elbow, but he gets crotched because he took way too long.
Yes, he did.
And Dax then hits a huge superplex. Later, after a diving hip up by Dax for 2, because he learns nothing. They claim to learn from the greats, but they have not.
Nope.
Punk locks in the Anaconda Vice, but Dax eventually gets out, attempts a figure 4. Punk counters into a small package, and they basically go back and forth and pinfalls. Dax counters Punk's corner knee into a slingshot powerbomb for 2, which is pretty cool.
I love Dax countering all of Punk's signature stuff.
Another one was he countered the GTS into a sharpshooter, or they would call it Scorpion Deathlock.
They would.
But I will not.
Although they're making more references to Bret Hart, so they may be able to call it either at some point in the future.
Yeah. Scorpion Deathlock's dumb. It looks worse too, because Sting never did it great, but FYI, he is a senior citizen now, so that kind of doesn't work.
Okay.
But I will talk about him later. I assure you. Punk. The finish comes when Punk is in the sharpshooter, and he counters out as he nears the ropes, rolls into an Anaconda Vice, and he taps out Dax for the win.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
I really, really like this. I thought this was a pretty awesome match. And, I mean, Dax Harwood in singles matches, even though I don't know if he ever wins, he always looks really good to me. He got a ton of offense here, right? Like, honestly, Punk did not get a lot here. And everything Harwood does just has great intensity, and he just kind of keeps coming at you, right? He doesn't work a crazy fast pace, but it's constant. And as a bonus, he's an excellent technician, right? So again, I love that he countered almost all of Punk's signature moves, like Anaconda Vice, the knee in the corner, the GTS, all of it. I thought, honestly, this match was more about showcasing Dax, which I thought was interesting. And then Punk basically got to put over his own resilience, right? That he can take this beating and this onslaught from this guy and still pull out a win and actually make a strong competitor tap out. So I think Punk ends up looking good in the end, making him tap. I thought kind of everybody wins here. And I thought it was a fantastic opener and another hint of a possible Bret Hart arrival, I thought, by using the sharpshooter there.
Right.
Yeah. You?
I thought this was a great little opener. Dax looked great again, lost again, but he got a great showing. He countered pretty much every big move Punk had to offer, using control most of the match.
He wasn't
like over the top exciting or anything, but he hits hard and simple. He was running the show for most of the match, proving he's pretty much as good as on his own as he is in FTR. Although I would definitely prefer primarily FTR.
I think the only thing holding him back from being a megastar is his look, which is unfortunate. Because I'd wish it didn't matter, but it does.
But Arn Anderson never made it big, I guess,
True.
right? So
yeah,
there's the example.
Yep.
But I like them giving him the odd single showcase. I swear he's faced Punk once before.
I think so too.
I couldn't find it, but I just feel like he has.
Yeah.
I also he had that match against Pac, which was great a little while back. This one here was great as well. I remember saying that because I knew he would be excited for Pac and
Absolutely.
Dax Harwood.
Heck yes.
Next we get a Jazz promo. Jericho talks about the picture that's circulating the internet of a young John Silver meeting Jericho.
So young.
And now he faces his idol, and it takes him to a new level, but not on Jericho's level. Garcia says again that they beat up pro wrestlers, and he'll prove tonight why pro wrestler can never be a sports entertainer like him. They are all getting on about how they beat down Santana Ortiz and they'll never be coming back. That kind of makes me think they're coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And Jericho finishes his line, "That's entertainment." Again, that's not a good line. That this is fine. I still don't love this gimmick. Even if it's like a satire for like the WWE
Yeah,
stuff
it
or
is.
whatever. And Vince, I just don't need to see this gimmick. Whatever it is, I don't want it. If it's serious, I don't want it. If it's a parody or something, I don't want it. If it's a Jericho midlife crisis or ego feeding, I don't want it. It's not something I need or want AEW. It's just not appealing for whatever purpose it's meant to serve. I don't really care what it's for or why it's for.
Mhm.
It's just not appealing. They're not effective. It's go away heat or like, I guess in the case of a faction, split up heat for me.
Mhm.
Like, I just don't want to see this. Like, I don't care why it is. I just don't want it to be what it is.
Yeah. I'm not super on board for it. I'm less off board than you, I guess. But because I also get what they're doing, right? And I do think it's helping Garcia, because I think this was his little bit of this promo was like one of the most interesting he's been outside the ring for me. But overall, it's not super entertaining to me. I feel like this is going to
Exactly.
be a hit and miss group where it's going to be like sometimes they amuse me, sometimes they don't. And to be honest, if you really want to embrace this gimmick of you're the sports entertainer, to me, Jericho should be speaking in like cheesy, scripted WWE style. You know how I'm always like, this is not how human beings
Right.
talk. Like, that's how he should be talking.
Yeah.
And I didn't get
Yeah,
that
he should
feeling
definitely
here. So I didn't dislike this segment, but I'm not fully on board either. And
I think the promo's fine. I just don't need this.
yeah, like his delivery is fine and stuff. It's just not super interesting to me. I'm not as down on it as you are. It feels like we're going to be getting a lot of it though, right? So
Right, that's the thing. It's like I
it's
think
gonna
I
be
know how
every
this
week.
goes.
Yes, I think so.
Right.
Yep.
Next we get, speaking of things I don't need, Darby Allin, Sting, and the Hardys versus AWFO, represented by Private Party and Butcher and Blade. I thought Darby Allin's some nice face paint, just like the skull design. He's got like some tree design on it too, which I always like that you kind of incorporate sometimes.
Yeah, it looked
I think
cool.
that was cool.
I thought it was cool.
In a match that was basically an arena brawl, despite pinfalls only
That's
being allowed in the ring.
Fair description. Yes.
Featuring 3 old people. 2 of them jump off stuff. One of them is old, or is like an old goth.
Who's your 3 old people?
Hardys.
Oh, both Hardys.
Sting.
I forgot. They're both there. That's right. Yeah,
They're
that's
both
fair.
old.
Yep.
Yeah. The brawl kicks off right away, and Sting dives out the top to the outside onto Private Party and Blade as Darby Allin brawls with Butcher, who he faced on Rampage.
I heard that was a good match. I didn't see it though.
All 8 pair off and brawling around the ring. Butcher's Darby in like a powerbomb position. The crowd, he swings him into a couple of walls, and then like,
that looked cool.
Gently tosses him down the stairs.
I mean,
which I get why, but
I think gently's a bit too strong, but yeah, it wasn't definitely.
Just kind of dropped him and then he rolled down the stairs.
Darby did his best with it for sure.
Yeah. Later on, Private Party hit a double side effect off the stage to Matt Hardy.
Yeah, and actually threw some tables. It looked pretty good, actually.
They did his own move.
Yes, how dare they?
On the concourse, Jeff Hardy must climb a ladder. And he goes onto a ledge on the wall. Ooh.
And remember, commentary's like, he's going beyond the ladder, and it's like 3 inches higher than the ladder.
It's like hardly taller than the tippy top of the ladder. As Darby and Sting just kind of keep punching. Butcher and Blade just keeping him in place on 2 tables, so until he hits the swanton to them. So yeah.
It did happen.
Sting, the finish comes when Sting catches Cassie from the gin and juice. He's meant to set up for the Scorpion Death Drop, but he just kind of like he holds him in the inverted front face lock, but then he just kind of like struggles to kind of dip down. They're just kind of like stuck in that position on the mat, and then he kind of comes back up as Matt Hardy hits a twist of fate, so they hit simultaneous finishers, and the baby faces win. Yay!
Yeah, I honestly thought this was a pretty fun car crash of a match. It was completely different from the opener, right, which was more of a technical thing, and this was like, it felt short to me. It was like 9 minutes of just kind of spots. It didn't bother me. I thought it was kind of fun. I mean, Sting struggled mightily at the finish. I've seen other people's, I think it was a written review where they said what was it? He puts him in the Dragon Sleeper and then picks him. Nope, he just really, really struggled.
He's old.
So I thought it was, for what it was, a 9-minute sort of car crash of a match. I was entertained, and a very different match from the opener. So I liked it more than you did, because you could never give Sting or the Hardys credit for anything. But I thought for what it was totally fine.
Yeah. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I thought it was better than fine. I thought it was
pretty much what I expected, but the opener was much better. The Butcher Darby stair spot was cool, but other than that, nothing you would expect. It was just fine. Nothing, like, it wasn't amazing. It wasn't horrible either. Jeff did a dive, Sting did a dive,
I thought it was
Sting
pretty
did a
fun.
botch. Just a lot of basic brawling and a few regular spots you'd see in any match like this.
Right.
I don't know if it was a complete waste of time, but we'll say it was a waste of time considering the combined age of at least 3 people in the match alone.
You are such an ageist. Like, I
And
don't love them either, but I don't think this
the time
was
would
bad.
be far better spent on something else. Like, this is just like an average arena brawl. Like, there's nothing much to it. Like, it just
I had
didn't feel
fun.
like, at least there, like, Sammy Guevara did that crazy spot in the trios match one. Like, this one just, like, there's nothing.
I can't believe I
super
have to be the one
interesting.
defending Sting and the Hardys, but I
Because
actually thought this was
You're
pretty
the
fun.
one who always saying, like, the NXT matches, like, it's just basic plunder or anything and no, like,
But this moved
crazy
really
spots,
fast and
but,
was
like,
over. It was just spot,
'cause
spot,
there is-
done.
and, like, just none of the spots were really that interesting.
And there wasn't as much of the, like, brawling through the crowd and stuff. It was pretty much, here's a thing that we're going to do, here's another thing, here's another
Yeah,
thing.
it's just a bunch of disjointed
I
spots,
don't
too, which is just not also.
No, I'm not saying it was a masterpiece, but I was entertained, I'll say that.
Mm-hmm. Next we got a quick FTR promo, which I didn't catch, so, because I was typing the other thing, so if you
Typing your rant about old people wrestling?
yes.
Yeah.
But it was like, I forget now. But it was good. I remember. So
I liked-
just check that out if you can find it, because I honestly just forgot to cover it. But it was really good. It seemed more babyface at first, which wasn't my favorite. But then
I thought so too.
it just became more intense and passionate, which I kind of like from Dax. And then Cash is just staring into the camera
Harwood was
as-
super intense at the end.
this Dax is going off. I wish it was more heel-like, but it's still very good. I hope they demolish Gun Club, which was kind of
That
one
was
of the
the
angles
point
here.
of it. Yes, it was something about the Gun Club, and I thought Harwood's intensity was really good, and I feel like a feud with the Gun Club, or an angle with the Gun Club at least, means they're heating FTR up again, which I am all for, right? So if that's a starting point for them starting to
Right.
get back into the main event, I'm all for it. So yeah, I like this, especially Dax in this promo as well.
Mm-hmm. Next we got Bryan Danielson and John Moxley versus the Varsity Blondes, or I guess the Blackpool Combat Club.
Right, so we were
Against Varsity
nervous because
Blondes.
right away Regal called them a grappling cooperative, right? So we were like, oh, is that the name? But no, it's not.
No, I think the name's actually kind of cool.
Yeah, I like it too.
They're another Bruno enhancement match for Mox and Danielson. Mox and Danielson attack right away in the Brawl and Twos, which kind of seems to be the
Right as the
the
bell
thing.
rings, they're on you. So they're not cheating, technically, right? But as soon as that first tone of the bell goes, they're kicking you in the face, basically.
right.
Yeah.
Julia Hart is sitting on the steps, being weird to make it even more obvious what's happening.
My prediction is coming true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still don't get it.
I don't even want it, but I'm just like, I told you, I just want that I told you so moment.
Like,
I don't really care.
She better only be a valet, and even at that, why her?
So yeah, she's sitting on the steps with her eye patch, not looking at the ring at all, facing out into the crowd,
Just
basically.
sulking
Yeah, I
or
guess.
something.
I think she's trying to look like dark and mysterious, but it wasn't.
But then,
great.
like later on, she's sitting like with her chin on her palm,
Like adorable little blonde girl trying to look evil is tough.
and then she's like sitting with her chin on her palm, just like,
Yeah.
and she just looks bored. Then
Yeah.
like
She's
looks like she
she's
just got
pensive.
dragged there.
She's pensive. She's thinking.
It looked like she
Deep.
just got like her brothers dragged her to their thing, and then she has to sit there, but she's not watching.
So
she
you were
doesn't
thinking
wanna
of
watch.
yourself watching your brother play basketball.
Exactly.
That's where you were. I
That's
figured
exactly
that's what that was.
it.
Yes.
Yeah, like if I had to go to a basketball game, which I have, and it's
God
boring.
forbid. You support your brother.
Basketball's boring.
Yeah, well, still support your brother. You could support your brother even though you
Boring.
don't like it because you like him. But anyways,
Boring.
carry on.
Do I?
Mm.
Corner to clothesline by Garrison, and then later on he goes for something else. I didn't catch one. Then Mox hits a German suplex. Clothesline German suplex combo by Mox and Danielson. Danielson hits Garrison with the Psycho knee, and which I think it always sounds funny to say that. Mox catches a dive from Pillman into a paradigm shift. Mox hits rapid elbows to Garrison, and Danielson stomps on Pillman with a wrist trap. And then Mox transitions into a sleeper and chokes out Garrison for the win.
While Danielson was slapping I think the label lock on the other one as well. So
Pillman.
simultaneously
Pillman
raining
Jr.
down blows and then transitioning to a painful submission.
Right.
Yeah.
Post-match Mox promo. Mox says he's very lucky and blessed, and he has been able to compete against the best in the world, and has been able to team with and learn from the best in the world. And the one opinion he has cared about is his lordship, Regal, and his approval is the seal of excellence. He says it was a hard road, and he wears that badge with pride, just like Danielson does too. He says they were forged in combat, and for anyone who thinks they can stand beside them, they aren't giving any free passes. And if anyone thinks they have what it takes, they need to find the part of themselves deep down that likes pain. And the only way to get a badge of honor from the Blackpool Combat Club is the hard way.
Right. I'm gonna say it. I could watch this tag team all day long. Just relentless and aggressive, cool variety of painful-looking moves. I think this is the best.
And like simple, effective team offense too, which they do occasionally.
The best description I can say is they are an absolute buzzsaw of a tag team.
It seemed like also at the end of the promo, they seemed like more on the same page. Like they're both like I guess you could go tweeners with this, honestly, like because they're both just like aggressive, like, but people love Mox, and honestly, if he tones down the healing a bit, like, everyone will love Danielson, like everyone always has.
And,
so like,
like we said, they're not cheating, they're not doing heel stuff, they're just killing people.
Right, they seem like way more like on the same page, like just not. Because they always were in the matches, but I mean, like, because you're saying how, like, before it was kind of like a heel and a face dynamic,
which I thought was cool.
I agreed. But now I think it's, like, leaning away from that, which I'm also okay with.
Me too. I just this buzzsaw of a team, I love it. I thought the Blondes played their role well, too, here, and Regal did his best to try and put them over on commentary, which is nice, right? So, I mean, this team is making enhancement matches interesting and entertaining for me, right? So, again, Danielson can do no wrong. Now that Mox is with him, I love this. And I'm usually like, I don't love when you make a super team, right, of two singles guys, but this is working for me. I could watch them all day. It's just non-stop aggression, intensity, and both of them can work. So I love it. And I thought the promo after was fine. It wasn't one of Mox's best, but it does give us the name of the group. So it was productive at least. But yes, an enhancement match I really enjoyed.
I like this again for another really cool enhancement match for them. Mox and Danielson with Regal, now the Blackpool Combat Club. Not a bad name, just gotta get used to it. I think it is kind of cool. I just have to get used to it more.
I like it.
And I mean, I didn't love Undisputed Era at first, and I think this one's already cool.
Did not like it either.
Which I now, I love them. So, and so I guess just gotta get, because I think it's actually cool. It's just odd at first.
Yep.
I think it's clear now Julia Hart's in House of Black. I don't understand why, unless it's only a valet position, in which case I'm disappointed Zelina Vega is not available, because like that would just be cool.
Yeah.
I think she could pull that off, and she's already with Black.
She's great. Yep.
I mean, Andrade's kind of floundering, so there's also that. But then
she's got lots of history.
She could reunite that alliance again. Malachi Black and Andrade is the coolest team since Death Triangle, or since Andrade's got nothing better to do, why doesn't he stop trying to buy them, joins them, and we can form Death Rhombus, baby?
As long as he ditches the Hardy family office.
Well, Offo. Yes. Okay? How dare you talk about Offo?
Family office.
Yeah, Andrade family.
Needs to get out of that quickly. Yeah. But anyways.
But Varsity Blondes look fine here. Mox and Danielson got another dominant showing. Mox promo after wasn't super long, but I thought it was pretty good nonetheless. I like the branding of the team, at least because for me, it seems like it's open to other members, because like when it's just like they're a nameless duo, it's just like they're the duo, but now it's like you kind of branded them, so now it's like the Blackpool Combat Club is open to, you know what I mean?
But they're not just accepting people, they're making them earn it, right? Like Yuta wanted in, they slap him, he doesn't seem to be quite in yet, but he has the opportunity to sort of get in, right? So I like that too.
He can get killed by one of them and then
maybe get in.
Yep. Next, MJF speaks. There's a security team blocking the ring, facing the entranceway. MJ says Texas has about as many brain cells as they do teeth, that being few, and they should pipe down. He says it's a shame Wardlow couldn't get the job done last weekend. Unlike Wardlow, he's a man of his word and honors his business agreements, and he meant it when he said Wardlow could keep the TNT title if he won, and that's why it's a shame that he lost last week.
Right. Glossing over the fact that he cost him the win, obviously, in heel fashion, which is fun.
He speaks to Punk quick and says everyone knew he had Punk beat and Punk had to cheat. He says he doesn't know when or where, but when he does get a rematch, he says there will be a rematch, and he will hand Punk the most embarrassing loss of his career, but even then it won't be over until he attends Punk's funeral and pisses on his grave.
Yep. Aggressive.
He switches back to Wardlow now. He says he'll call him a pig because he is a greedy pig. If it weren't for his contract with MJF, no one would know his name. And thanks to MJF, he is known as a roof over him and his family's heads. He talks about how he won't release Wardlow because he didn't sign a phony deal with some schmuck. He signed a deal with the devil, and he owns Wardlow, and he'll make his life hell. Like that. Jab. Wardlow comes out, and MJ says, hold on. Wardlow clears the security team, but more swarm him as MJF says to keep him down. He says Wardlow doesn't get it, and he works for MJF, not AEW, and MJF doesn't want him around anymore, so he is trespassing, and it makes him like any fan who would hop the barricade. He says he will pay Wardlow, and he'll pay him good, but he'll pay him to stay home until until everyone forgets him and ends up forgotten and a nobody like he used to be, and he tells security to take him home. He says people think the Pinnacle's over, but that's not true, but they are better than ever, and with FTR next week, they are moving up, or FTR in action next week. And Spears finishes with the Pinnacle's signature line. When you're in the Pinnacle, you're always on top.
Yeah, another excellent MJF promo. The only part I didn't like was the pig analogy that he kept coming back to. I didn't really enjoy that. But anyways,
it was whatever.
He masterfully works the crowd, right? Gets them to chant for Wardlow, that's part of what I love about MJF too. He's not just out there to get himself over as a heel, right? He is trying to elevate people along the way, which I think is awesome. I like the idea of him continuing to pay Wardlow, but continuing him to stay home until
because he's just like a trust fund baby or something, right? So money is no object. So he'll keep him living
he's
good,
in obscurity again, right?
Which I like that because
me too.
He could just not pay him, and then like what if Wardlow comes back and then he has no control? But right now he's still in control and can also get back at Wardlow still, which I think that's interesting. Like I think it's cool.
Because now initially what all Wardlow wanted was the money, but now he wants more than that, right? And MJF's going to be like, no, you can still have the money, and then you're going to just fade into obscurity, which I thought was cool. And they can slowly. Like, they can have Wardlow trying to get at MJF for weeks, right? And they continue to build this even further.
Yeah.
I could see FTR somehow helping out Wardlow because they seem to be leaning babyface. And MJF, that is, was so adamant about the Pinnacle still being together that leads me to believe that they won't be. You know what I mean? Like, why are you making that such a point when it wasn't really part of this at all? It's just like, hey, I hear people saying this. So that felt kind of shoehorned in and leads me to believe that they're not nearly as strong a united front as MJF thinks they are.
Yeah, that kind of sucks because I think FTR are way better as heel. I am kind of interested to see them as babyfaces if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the ideal scenario.
And I could be wrong. I just feel like them sort of clearly distancing themselves from Pinnacle might be them helping Wardlow in some way, right? So whether it's helping him get out of his contract with MJF,
maybe,
or helping him get an AEW contract or whatever it is, I feel like that'll be FTR's final, like, we're out of this thing, right? But we'll see. I could be
with the Inner Circle shedding its skin, I feel like we could see the
shedding its skin. Nice, I like that.
Thanks. We could see the same for the Pinnacle. I mean, obviously not the same. I don't think we're gonna get the MJF worshipping club.
It just seemed like a sudden hard turn into that, right?
I think like maybe then MJF gets a couple more outlets, or even at least one, because then you get a trios match with him, Spears, and insert name here, against Wardlow and FTR, which is I think how you could do that if you want, or you just have like FTR take on them, I guess, or Wardlow and insert name of a guy here.
Yeah.
Against
player to be named later.
Right, like to be determined. Like I think there's many ways you could go.
There
with
are.
that.
Yep,
yeah,
for sure. I liked it. MJF is awesome. There's rarely a promo that I don't know if I've ever said one's bad. I thought this one was good.
Mm-hmm. I like this. It was another great big MJF promo. Back to Simon Heel ways. I like the way he started. He had some good jabs at Wardlow, like the reference to the WWE contracts. I thought that was pretty funny. I even liked him addressing insulting Punk a bit to, like, as you would say, breadcrumb an eventual rubber match, right? Like, because he mentioned it, but he left it really open ended, right? So that it doesn't have to be now. It will be just an eventual thing, which I think I like that. I like that works. So just to keep it in your mind a bit, like you said, breadcrumb it. I like that MJF is going to keep Wardlow under contract, but use it to keep him away, which I think is just like the ultimate dick thing to do here, which is exactly what MJF is.
Yes.
It's a nice ongoing storyline too, like you said, that we can have for a bit until, of course, we get that big blow off, which I think they could keep, because Double or Nothing will probably be in May, so like that's like a month and a half maybe.
So that makes sense. So that timeline would
I think
work.
that's a decent amount of time,
I agree.
right? I do disagree though. It seems like a Pinnacle is falling apart, of course. Wardlow's gone. FTR distance from Tully, followed by a pretty babyface feeling promo tonight. Overall, like the segment a bunch though.
Yeah, me too.
Next, we get a quick best friends thing backstage. Shivani mentions how it's the first time we're seeing them since Yuta interacted with Blackpool Combat Club. Trent Beretta, as he will always be referred to.
He is Trent Beretta. I don't know why you have to say that every time. That's his name.
He changed to Trent Beretta, so
but it's not now. It is now.
I have to always refer to him as Trent Beretta to honor this name change.
Sure, you can say Trent Beretta, but now you always say Trent Beretta. I will always honor him every time.
Oh, I won't do that every time. But,
but you do, though.
He says he never liked Yuta, but the rest of them trained him and brought Yuta in, and he's going to repay them by joining Regal. Yuta says he loves him to death, but never loved Trent Beretta either.
Ooh.
And he says he's not trying to be the best friend you can be. He's trying to be the best wrestler you can be. You either get there or you don't. I like that last line.
Me too. I actually like the heat between Trent and Wheeler here. I thought Beretta sounded good too, right? So, and I think same thing you're saying, that Wheeler's point about, like, I'm not trying to be a best friend, I'm trying to be the best wrestler. And that obviously he thinks there's a better chance of that happening if he joins Regal's group. So this was super short, but I think it accomplished quite a bit, right? Like, you're building that heat between Yuta and Beretta. You're sort of hinting that Wheeler still does want to join Regal and Mox and Danielson.
I like that too, yes.
So yeah, I thought this really brief segment accomplished a lot, and I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. It was a little segment. I thought Trent Beretta was good. I liked Yuta too. I thought that last line was pretty cool. It spoke fine. But he never fit best friends the best, I think.
No, he felt tacked on a bit, right?
He was just kind of bland, so I think throwing him in was an all right choice, but like he was always an easy one to get rid of from this group, I think.
Yeah.
So I'd like him to be in the Blackpool Combat Club as long as he becomes more violent, right? Just needs to be more violent version of perhaps the Dakota gimmick he had in ROH. I think he needs to work on hitting harder, because that was part of my thing in that match.
Yeah, like, there's a couple things you thought were soft. Right.
He just needs to hit harder, become more violent, and then I think he could totally fit in, because he's technical like Danielson. If you can just up the violence, perfect.
And storyline and real life, I feel like that could happen, right?
Right,
like Mox
exactly.
and Danielson could literally teach him.
That's even like 2 weeks of vignettes, boom. Because I don't think it needs to be a long thing, but like 2 weeks of vignettes, boom. That's good, right?
Yep.
Like, so I think there's potential in that. I would like that. I think that's a good place to start too, because I think you can get better guys than Yuta, but I think that's a good place to start too, because who knows, maybe that makes Yuta better, gives him a character, gives him something to do.
And I think it's perfect. They're targeting young guys that just there's like a missing piece of the puzzle, right?
Exactly. Yuta just needs,
and he can give him that last little bit. Yep, right. I agree.
Next we get Adam Cole versus Jay Lethal, which I kind of forgot, but they do have a bunch of history in ROH actually.
Which they could have mentioned, because my first point
They did mention it, but they were pretty like vague about it.
Yeah, no real story or stakes, right? It was just
they did mention that Cole beat Lethal in the finals of a vacant title tournament, which I did kind of like. At least they mentioned that.
Yeah.
I only know that because I watched a ranking of every ROH World Champion
a
little while ago, which I've seen before, but I just watched it again. Well worked in competitive TV match. There was a back and forth early on with some strikes traded. Hip toss, cartwheel, dropkick by Lethal, backbreaker, flatliner, aka Lethal combination by Lethal. Figure four by Lethal. Later, Lethal stops the last shot. Attempt hits a cutter to cut it off. He cuts it off.
Haha.
I like this. Lethal looks for lethal injection, but Cole super kicks him in the back of the head to catch it.
Yeah, that was nice.
And hits a Pain of Sunrise for 2. I think that should have been like, he super kicks him in the back head, Pain of Sunrise, last shot, over. That should have been the finish.
Yeah.
But the finish comes when Redragon distract the ref as Lethal has a roll up. He looks for lethal injection again, but is caught with a low blow and a last shot for the win. After the match, Cole says nobody deserves the AEW title more than him, and Hangman still a win from him. And 2 of their past 3 matches, referring to the 2 trios matches, he lost the title match. He has one. That is in fact true. And he saw the fear in Hangman when he pinned Jungle Boy last week, and Hangman caught lightning a bottle in Revolution, and Cole shoved the bottle up his ass. I thought that was funny.
Apparently.
He says he brings the fight, and Hangman is a coward, and he won't face the 3 of them, which prompts Hangman to come out. And he starts going after them with a belt until low blow from Cole, and they beat him down until Jurassic Express and Uncle Christian chase them off. And Cole actually escapes with the title too, which he was holding.
How dare he? Yeah, very good match between 2 talented veterans, right? I thought Lethal looked really strong. He dominated most of this match, right, until the distraction from Red Dragon, and he got to kick out a Panama Sunrise. So Cole honestly didn't get a ton in this match, but his counters to the lethal injection were cool and effective. I thought this was a very good TV match in the middle of a show, right? The aftermath, I know I don't love all of the run-ins after matches and stuff, but I thought this one worked because Paige continues to look like the superheroic babyface, right? Who doesn't worry about being outnumbered and facing a 3-on-1. And then I thought it made sense for Cole and Red Dragon because when the numbers are even and Jurassic Express comes out, the Weasley chicken heels want nothing to do with the fair fight, right? So they retreat, which makes sense as well. So I really liked the match, and I liked the aftermath as well, which I don't always in AEW. So yeah, I thought this was so far this show for me is everything has been good so far, which is fun to say. So I like this.
I think the next segment is gonna kind of disprove that. But,
Maybe.
Yeah, I like this too. There were some good parts. Just not the most exciting match. I think it was a solid match in the middle of the show, though.
Yeah, it was good.
Beats the main event, that's for sure. I like the sequence when Lethal hit the cutter, but the lethal injection got countered, and then I think the other counter was cool for the finish too. I think Cole had an answer for it twice,
right,
whether it was underhanded or not.
And because the lethal injection's very protected, right? He hits that and it's pretty much over.
I still love when Starks countered into Rochambeau. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a really cool clip.
It was.
The aftermath was solid too, like you said. Solid promo from Cole, quick brawl. I guess Cole taking the title is interesting. I hope it doesn't end up stupid like every time WWE does something like it. But I trust them.
That's right.
It's not like they go to this well too often.
No,
with
they've earned our trust.
Sword,
at this point.
or a motorcycle, or a Money in the Bank, or
stealing
a necklace, or a credit card.
Oh yeah.
Or
stealing Daddy's credit card.
Yeah, that's what they should do. Wardlow should steal MJF's credit card.
For sure.
and then they have another ladder match. Instead of a Sonic ring, it's just a little credit card on a hook. Yes, that's what they should do. A credit card on a keychain on a lanyard, which is hooked above the ring.
Right. I take my money.
Take your credit card.
Right. Literally.
Next we get Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti.
Well, there was a little
for some reason.
There was a little our Lance Archer Dustin package for Rampage.
Yeah,
that
I
was
totally
fine.
Because it was talking about the history. Because they actually had a match back when they're in the little place in Atlanta, I think it was.
Yeah.
And it was in the TNT title tournament actually, where he rammed his head a bunch into the mat. And they have a match on Rampage. I don't think I care at all.
That's my note. Was not a match that interests me much.
And Lambert's still affiliated with Archer for
some reason. Yeah. Somebody must love Archer's work, or not Archer's work, Lambert's work, because they do find ways to put him on the show. Speaking of which,
it's not because the thing was he does American Top Team, right? And
yes.
I still don't like him recruitment man of the year, but the justifications were all right.
Yeah.
With the whole MMA thing and crap. Is that Archer?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't either.
What? I don't
get it. He's basically what you were railing against when you first got
here.
Yeah.
And literally he beat up Lambert before.
Yeah.
Again, so I don't get it. It's just weird.
Doesn't matter to me.
I clearly was amazing if I didn't even note it at all.
Right. Yes.
So next we come to boringness with Lambert, part 2. Sammy Guevara and Ty Conti, for whatever reason, they're really a couple after Pam was.
So what was your question? Is he going to propose
to
her?
I was like,
take 2.
Is he going to do another in-ring proposal?
Right.
I mean, those go well. Ask Pam or John Cena.
Poor Pam. Yeah, true. True.
Sammy says Shivani was right. I wrote WS. I seemingly forgot the vowel. Was right.
Was right.
Shivani was right, and he lost the TNT title 3 weeks ago. Well, yeah, I don't think he can be wrong about that, but sure. But he still has the ring. Imagine that'd be funny if MJF said that, because then it'd have a different meaning.
It would.
But he still has the ring inside of it. He'll always give a show like you've never seen, unless it's the same match, or he could do the same stuff, I guess. He says he knows he'll pay for it when he's older. See Jeff Hardy. He says it's worth it because of the people, which again I find funny because
he likes us. That's nice.
Nice to feel appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's funny because you could literally look at, they just signed Jeff Hardy. Yes, you will pay for it when you're older.
Yep.
Come on. Or Mick Foley. You could put Mick Foley in that category.
Matt Hardy even, right? His body's devastated.
Right, because drop McGee.
Yes.
Right, yeah. Or he did it off the cage once, right?
Yes, and it just
destroys
your
smart.
back.
Right.
Yeah. And hips.
Ask Hulk Hogan.
Yes, the lamest leg drop ever, and that has destroyed his body.
Right.
There's talk that he can't do another leg drop.
Yeah, which is good, because...
Which I say then go ahead and do one. Hulk Hogan. Not a fan. Not a fan of super racist. No, that's
Boom
not one of...
roasted.
It's one of my hot buttons. Racism. Who knew?
Oh, wow.
Not a fan.
That's weird. I thought most people did like it, but that's on me. Conti says now they want payback, and Van Zant will get her ass kicked just like her entire MMA career. Which I thought that line just... Something about the delivery was just not there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Conti is just like... I think she's great, but just... And she's trying, but just the delivery, not the best.
No, she's not.
I'm sorry,
She's
but
not
it's just
strong
not.
promo at this point.
Yeah.
For sure.
Which sucks, because I think she's great in the ring. I think that's what she's missing, which
Yep.
sucks, because I think she is good.
Yep.
But Lambert comes out, because we had to just do that.
Wearing the belt still.
Right, which is funny. Oh, before I go back, Guevara says they'll fight any two right now. So basically any guy in Van Zandt, because Van Zandt's the only female member, unless they want to fight Dan Lambert and someone.
Probably. Who doesn't?
That's true. He is, as he said, the most popular co-TNT champion
Of all time, yep.
Yep.
For sure.
He says he'll give them the lay of the land. On their side, they have Ethan Page. Something about Ethan Page, the only thing Canada got right or whatever. The most popular co-TNT champion himself. Something about Paige Van Zandt, who's not here because Texas sucks. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
And the TNT champ, Scorpio Sky, he says on their side they have Tiny Tim and his girlfriend, which is that like a reference? Is that supposed to be like some sort of
Tiny
specific...
Tim is from Scrooge.
Which is... Or I know what Scrooge is, but like what Tiny Tim?
Tiny Tim was the like...
Is it a Hispanic
So
racism?
Bob Cratchit is the employee that is like being taken advantage of by Scrooge, and Tiny Tim is his little son who's got a crutch because he's sick. So I think it was just a size reference. I don't know if it was anything more than that.
I thought it was like tiny, like it's like a PB joke.
I don't think so. I think it was just like,
No,
you're not very
okay.
big. You're a cruiserweight kind of deal.
And he says they have Tiny Tim and his girlfriend. They deny the match in Men of the Year, walk away, and then Lambert says something, kisses the interim TNT title, and then they make a joke about how they did it while
With
he
the
had
title.
the belt.
Like, we did gross stuff to that title, and now you just kissed it. Ha ha ha. NXT,
yeah, I thought that was like...
ripped from NXT.
Yeah, I was just like... And that's how you end the segment. I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, that was weird.
Yeah. I thought the first part of Sammy cutting the promo was actually pretty good. And I thought that, like, this is what they should have done when he had the title, because his promos were holding signs during commercials, right?
Right.
And I don't think that helped him connect with fans at all. So he's capable on the mic, it seems to me, from the first part of this that I thought was good. So I'm not sure why they're now letting him speak when he's no longer a champion and he's in
over 2 reigns.
To me, a minor feud with Lambert and his people. But anyways, the last line didn't really work for me. I saw a lot of people really liked it and thought it was this brilliant burn. I don't know, I guess I'm just too old or whatever. The segment ended up being just okay, I think.
Did he bust a nut on the belt?
I guess that's what he's saying.
It's just weird.
I'm fine with Sammy wanting his title back, obviously, but the involvement of the rest of America's top team, I don't care, right?
I don't really know why Conti's there.
Yeah, this segment was one of the weaker things on this show, I thought.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
I think Guevara's promo before was fine. I don't think it was like anything amazing, but I think it was good. Just overall, this was fine. Nothing interesting, great. Just kind of there, but anything American top team is wearing thin for me, and Conti can speak great. Don't need her and Guevara together on screen.
Yeah.
Especially not because I know what's gonna come of it.
Yeah. I do not need to see the mixed tag match at all.
Yeah.
That does not interest me.
No matter bring back Shaq, bro.
No matter who Van Zandt tags with, I don't care.
Oh,
to be honest.
I hope it's Jorge Masvidal.
It's probably her husband, no? Wouldn't that make sense?
No, I know. I just said that because that's the only guy.
The only name you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know her husband's name. I don't know who it is. I don't care.
Austin Idol?
No. I don't think so.
Austin something?
Maybe.
I don't know. I remember Junior Dos Santos and Jorge Masvidal.
Great.
I remember Jorge Masvidal because Jan Lambert had showed it before. Jorge Masvidal. Okay. So, yeah. Next.
Austin Vanderford.
Ha,
her husband.
Vanderford Van Zandt. Funny.
Yeah.
Next to get Layla Hirsch versus Red Velvet.
No. Swerve.
What?
Swerve.
Damn it. Missed that too. Swerve is going to face Starks for the FTW title, which last night.
Right.
I haven't watched it yet, but I do want to watch it.
And it was super brief, but Swerve looks and sounds really cool, right? But
yes,
I guess,
love Swerve.
Like Keith Lee, he's starting at the bottom.
It's not major, but they kind of booked themselves into a minor corner here because Swerve is new. But also, why would the FTW title leave Team Taz?
Right.
Unless you want to make him look like bigger chumps.
How do you have Swerve lose, right? Like that's, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, the match could be good. Fighting for a fake title against a mid-carder is how he's starting out in the company, which isn't the best.
I'm okay with it, though, because I think that'll be a cool match.
It should, yeah. Speaking of cool matches, maybe not. Even though I really like Layla Hirsch, but anyways.
Next we get Layla Hirsch versus Red Velvet with emo Chris Statlander banned from ringside.
Here's my complaint. You give these women 1 6-minute match on a show and you put a 3-minute commercial break in the middle. Stop doing that. Plan better. Anyways.
Yeah, like it has to be in their control, right? Like
they know when commercials are. They plan the show out. So
just move the match around it. Yeah.
Yes. Anyways, go ahead.
Like I don't know what you do is like you shift. There's the small segment after you shift this up or something like shift that up. Like
other shows have done it for decades, right? So figure it out because this is like you give the women one match and you basically put half of it in a picture-in-picture. But anyways, go ahead.
Yep, the women's match of the week.
Yep.
4 notables.
Yeah, go ahead. That sounds right. And the notables aren't all positive, probably.
Nope. One of them is one of the notables is that the fact that there was a commercial break in the match.
Yes, there's one. Yeah.
So Hirsch attacks Velvet during her entrance. There's a brawl on the outside before the match officially starts. There's a commercial break interrupting the match very much.
Yep.
Botchy springboard by Velvet meant for her to hit a German suplex, which mostly connects. Corkscrew kick, but Hirsch rolls out of the ring, possibly with Velvet's help. She's kind of like Velvet, nudging her along.
I guess it was supposed to look like Velvet was reaching to go for the pin, but it almost looked like she was pushing her out of the ring.
Yeah. Hirsch wants to use the turnbuckle hook, but he gets taken away by the ref. She takes out a backup one.
She stuffed one down her trunks, and then it was on purpose.
Yeah, I know, but like she has. Okay, I guess she got both, but and she hits Velvet with that, and that's it. She just kind of charges at her with it, doesn't really hit her much, and then just pins her after that.
No, the contact with it didn't look good.
Yeah.
Compared to like when Tony D'Angelo hit Pete Dunne with the crowbar, it looked like he killed the guy. This was kind of the opposite of that.
He clearly killed Pete Dunne because Pete Dunne's...
Sorry, Butch. Who is Pete Dunne even?
I don't know. He's been nowhere to be found, but...
I just dead named him. That is bad.
Oh, yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah, you can't do it. When someone changes their name, you're not allowed to dead name them.
He didn't change it. He was forcibly changed, so maybe that's different. But it's funny because I was just...
Emo Statlander makes a save from a Hirsch attack after.
We're literally watching this match, and I'm thinking... 2 women, I do like both of them, especially Layla Hirsch, but they do struggle at times working a clean match. And I was just writing the note that so far this match is clean, and then there was just, I described it as a definite patch of awkwardness was in my notes. So Layla Hirsch cheating is fine. I didn't mind the way she cheated either. It seems like she was being smart about cheating.
I just wish like it was like, because she you know how she wrestles, right? So why wouldn't it be like, I would love it if, like, say she's been targeting the leg, you just nail her in, like, the shin or the knee with the turnbuckle hook.
And then apply a submission.
Yes, like,
kill her.
Use this cheating, incorporate it into her moveset, and just, instead of just being a generic heel, bashing her with a weapon and pinning her.
And using the same weapon week after week.
Or, like, find a way to sneak that turnbuckle hook into, like, an arm bar. Like, something to incorporate this in a cool way, but it's just kind of like a generic, like, oh, heel cheats with the weapon.
Right. So of the 3 or 4 minutes we got, there was like
a botch and unsatisfactory finish.
I said the death blow looked weak and the match had issues, right? So I do like both of them, but this wasn't very good. And to be honest, even the storyline, right? I don't think that we saw enough of these 3 because it's Velvet and Statlander.
Right.
I don't think we saw enough evidence of them being friends for us to have this much.
Right, because we saw like... There was the matches. The matches were always on Rampage, pretty much, right? But we saw segments on Dynamite a lot, which is kind of on, and like most of them were like that they were friends, but then there was dissension. So then it was like,
and then it's been this lengthy feud between these 3, but I don't think we saw enough of their friendship to have this go this long and still care about it.
Especially with the 2 and Hirsch. Like I feel like you could easily go with that. Statlander and Velvet are friends, but like Hirsch has never felt like
it's like
I felt like she was like because she was always more serious than them. I feel like so it was like she was like kind of teaming with them and like they're friends, but then now Hirsch is getting mad.
It feels like they wanted to turn Hirsch heel, so they stapled her to that duo for a little bit, just long enough to be able to turn her.
Yeah.
And it's not working for me.
Yeah, I
unfortunately.
agree.
Because I think Hirsch is really cool.
Yep. I thought that was fine, not great, until it got sloppy again. Hurt by the poorly timed commercial break and an unsatisfactory finish. All around, just not great.
Nope.
Just not much of a match, and then just plagued by a few things.
Agree. Low point.
Next we just get a quick Cargill Sterling promo. They're just planning a celebration part for when she hits 30. No, nothing much here. It was just fine. But I will appreciate and applaud that they did do something different here. It at least differentiated itself,
Funny,
right?
that's my notes.
From the other ones. Like, it wasn't
Yes.
amazing, but like at least it was clearly different.
Yes. So I kind of liked, because you've got Jade now. She's looking past her next match because she's so cocky, and that makes sense because eventually I'm sure that's what's going to cost her, right?
I don't think it should be now,
No,
but it'll
and I
eventually
think they're
happen.
setting that up. And Jade got to speak a little more than she usually does. I thought she sounded good. And like you, right? This is similar to what they usually do, but at least a little bit different, which is appreciated because it's been copy-paste for a very long time. So this was at least slightly different. So yes, I was fine with
a clear
this.
differentiation too.
Yep, I was fine with it.
Then something I don't really care about. We hear from Thunder Rosa, which
This was
on the surface
frustrating.
that doesn't sound bad, but immediately Vicky Guerrero cuts her off. Is like Rosa not a good promo? Like
I don't think she is. However, you're bringing her out in her home state. They say her adopted home state or whatever.
Are they still in Texas?
Yes, the crowd reaction she's getting is fantastic. And she's the newly crowned champion after this crazy long feud, and they don't let her say anything. So I thought that was a strange decision, especially considering what they decided to have interrupt her. So anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, Vicky Guerrero comes in being annoying. She says Rosa may think she is the leader and she'll give her a bit of credit, but she calls herself a Texan and says not to insult her state. Rosa says something about how she earned her citizenship there, and Vicky cuts her off and again keeps talking, and then Rosa blindsides her with a body tackle and then nothing else. Like,
yeah, I mean, it is a big body to tackle you, I guess.
I guess,
but
like you don't see Powerhouse Hobbs doing that and then pinning you for the win.
No.
Vicky says this is a true champion. Her name is Nyla Rose. She's not the champion, so she's not a true champion. This was okay, I guess. Not much, but I do not like Vicky. Just doesn't work with her.
No.
Vicious Vixens are not that great. I think it's funny because I'm pretty sure Nyla Rose was the first challenger for Britt Baker too, or at least like the first major challenger for her.
Kind of in my notes here.
So,
I thought this was less than okay. I thought this was a miss for me. And AEW seems to be enjoying this, like, people being interrupted before they get to say anything. Like Keith Lee, it's happening constantly, right?
So Jungle Boy.
Yeah, Rosa got to say nothing here, and this became really about Vicky Guerrero, which isn't a good idea in 2022, right?
I don't think it was ever a good idea.
So basically a hot crowd got robbed of hearing, like, their hometown hero speak, and instead they had to listen to Vicky, and I guess that's supposed to get heel heat, but I don't think that's the right kind of heel heat. And like you're saying, I feel like Nyla is basically Lance Archer, and she's the monster that they can quickly heat up for a placeholder challenger.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So she's Lance Archer.
Except I think she was more capable of being champion, because she was. But I agree. I agree.
Think Nyla's good, and I like most of her matches.
I think she could get the TBS title now, eventually.
That's true. They just kind of... She disappears, and then, we need a challenger until they face a real challenger, so here you go. So,
plus of having that women's mid-card title, so I think it was a smart decision by them. I agree that that's like the perfect comparison. She's definitely the Lance. Oh my God, Lance Archer's gonna become like an adjective. Is that
they Lance Archered her? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like he's
a verb.
It'll be like or a verb too. Yeah. like you know how like you could call someone a Dolph Ziggler or something. Yeah. You could call her a Lance Archer.
She is. Yep. So I thought this segment was a miss.
Funny.
I was not a fan.
Yeah, it was not great. I like, yeah, you can just heat her up, and then like
she'll lose, and then she's gone again.
She's not completely like not credible, but she's just like not credible, and like she is credible, but not quite enough. Like I'm not buying her at all.
Like, how about for a few weeks before, and maybe this is happening on the internet, which I don't watch, but how about you spend a couple minutes for a few weeks having Nyla kill somebody, right? And be like, oh yeah, she still exists, and
not bring her in for the feud.
Right. Like, have it sort of like she's on a roll and she wants the title.
Right, like she's in action. She was in action on Rampage. You should have been doing that. Like, it doesn't even have to be on Dynamite. Put her in a couple squashes on Rampage in a couple weeks. Like, I mean, sure, we don't watch Rampage a lot, but at least they can justify it's not just on the internet shows.
Right, but it's somebody who's done nothing for months now, just walking into a title shot. Weird.
Scorpio Sky.
Didn't love it, but anyways, yes. Well, he's undefeated in a year on the internet.
So next we get Jazz, represented by
main
Jericho
event
and Garcia versus John Silver and Alex Reynolds. Yeah, main event.
My first note, I'm not sure if this is worthy of a Dynamite main event.
I thought that immediately after I saw them advertise this as a main event. I was just like, what?
No offense, love Dark Order, love John Silver and Alex Reynolds, but the way they've been presented, they are not main eventers on Dynamite.
No, I mean, they did with Hangman, but that's a different scenario.
Yes, exactly.
That's like right, like, it's just like, and they got a lot too, so then, like,
they did.
Against the supposed new faction, new team.
Yes.
Right? So there's a double drop toe hold and double basement dropkick by Silver and Reynolds. Suicide dive by Reynolds to assist outside brainbuster by Silver, so that was kind of cool. Diving crossbody by Silver for 2. There's a fast combo by Silver and Reynolds. The stunner was almost botched, but they recovered pretty well, actually.
They did, yeah.
Small package by Garcia for 2. The finish comes and there was a bad cheap shot by Jericho, and then Garcia locks Reynolds in a deep sharpshooter for the win. Note how many things I noted from Jazz.
They didn't do much. It was
small package roll up and the finish.
This was a John Silver showcase, and Garcia did almost nothing.
Even Reynolds got like a decent time to shine too.
Yeah.
Against again the new faction.
So I'm again not really a typical main event for sure, but I thought it was pretty fun, and mostly because of John Silver and Dark Order in general. Like, he had his running around the ringside sort of flurry, and then they had that one string of awesome, like, stringing together offense, Silver and Reynolds, leading to that pinfall attempt, right? Like, that always gets me. The crowd loved that too. Garcia did almost nothing, which I thought was strange. And again, so if Jericho really wants to embrace this sports entertainer gimmick, like I was saying about his promos that need to feel scripted and like not how human beings talk, his in-ring work needs to be slower and safer and WWE style, right? Like, to me, that's the final level of this, is that I'm a sports entertainer, so I don't really work that much in-ring, right? But then how do you do that in a show where people want to watch people work? So I think they've kind of backed themselves into a corner where you can't fully commit to this gimmick that you're giving Jericho in this group. But anyways, it wasn't a top-notch main event by any means.
Nope.
But I found it entertaining still. Like, I just because I love Silver and Reynolds, I like how quick they work and their signature like flurries and stuff. So that was entertaining. It's kind of like I enjoyed it despite JAS and not because of them.
Jazz.
And not because of them, right? So a fun main event, but not an AEW Dynamite main event.
Yeah, I think it was fun on the Dark Order side, but I don't think, like, it was fine. It was nothing amazing. I think Dark Order got most of the offense here and looked much better than Jazz did, which is kind of stupid for the new faction, but I ain't complaining because I don't like them. And it was fun-ish, but again, like, just not what I'm looking for in a main event. I'm just not interested in anything. I'm just not interested or bothered to care about anything Jazz is involved with right now. So it was just fine, but my expectation of an underwhelming main event is ringing true. And I thought that from the beginning, and it did not exceed or disappoint in that regard.
Sure.
Thoughts on the show as a show as a whole?
As a show, overall, it started out really strong. Like, I was liking the first several matches and segments, and then
like first hour at least.
Yeah, it was great. And then I don't think the show was bad by any means.
Just kind of missed with something.
The main event was fun, but it didn't feel like a main event. The Vicky Guerrero stuff with Thunder Rosa was weak. The Guevara, Tay Conti, American Top Team stuff wasn't great, but pretty much everything else I really liked, to be honest. So even the enhancement match, like Gun Club Mox Danielson, was really fun, right? And I like the 8-man tornado more than you did. I enjoyed it.
Did you say Gun Club Mox Danielson?
Or sorry, that's what I wrote down too.
Varsity Blondes.
Sorry, Varsity Blondes.
Scott Dawson Gun Club.
Right. And the opener was awesome. So I can still give this show overall, I think it earned a B+ for me. I can't put it in the A range because of the main event and a couple segments. Not that I didn't like the main event, but that's not a main event, right? That's not a top tier main event.
hit, right?
So the vast majority of this show I enjoyed and was entertained. So that's a B+ for me. It was a good show, just not an A show.
Yeah, I think the first hour so it's really good. I really enjoyed that opener, one of the better ones as of late for sure. Like I don't think any of the second ones were super miss. I didn't love the big 8-man tag, but it wasn't outright horrible, so I'm fine with it, I guess. Like I like stuff like that too. With the enhanced match, good again. Love the MJF promo, and then like I think generally everything was pretty good. Like even like Cole Lethal and whatnot.
It was.
And then they just kind of like missed with things like the American Top Team segment, the women's match.
It tailed off at the end.
The Thunder Rosa segment, and the main event was fine, but just not a main event.
Agreed.
So they kind of fall off a bit of a cliff at the end. So I think it does kind of even out to a B+ because they started out really well. So I think it does even out to a B+. If the second half had been stronger, it would have been closer to the A range.
I agree. So a good show. Definitely worth watching, just not one of their amazing episodes. All right, so that's wrapping up the AEW Dynamite talk, and we'll transition into some trivia in our Off the Top of His Head segment. So it is timely Wrestlemania Part 2 trivia. We did the first 15 last week.
It said it was like 9 days away the other day. So I was like, what? That doesn't sound right. But I guess for a lack of caring, I haven't noticed.
So the second half of this, I think there's 14 questions. For some reason, they do 29, which I find interesting. But anyways, so we're at number 16 after 15 last week. 16 is, where was the first ever WrestleMania held? Do you know that one?
Madison Square Garden.
Correct. Very good. 17. Who is credited for coming up with the name WrestleMania? Interesting. I have heard this but forgotten. I have options if you want.
I have heard too, but I've forgotten, so I'll take the options.
Lawler, Vince McMahon, The Fink, or Hulk Hogan?
Fink.
Fink is correct. I would have been the same. Once I heard it, I would have known who it was. 18. Which WWE executive conceptualized WrestleMania?
What?
That's an odd phrasing. Which executive conceptualized it?
I have no idea.
So here are your options then.
Okay.
Gee, I wonder. Stephanie McMahon, and think of how old WrestleMania is, right? Triple H, Vince McMahon, or Shane McMahon. Like that's one of those
Triple H wasn't even there.
Where I give students advice on multiple choice tests, right? Like sometimes it's process of elimination. You don't know the answer, but you're like, can't be that one.
Right.
So like Stephanie as a child or a newborn baby,
or Shane as probably pretty young too, and Triple H
before he was there
wouldn't debut for another decade.
Right. So yeah, that's an interesting question. 19. What is the name of the WrestleMania event first organized with the Trump saying that organization?
What?
What is the name of the first WrestleMania event? So something like surrounding WrestleMania. I have options if you want. So WrestleMania Access, WrestleMania All Access, WrestleMania Access spelt with 2 X's instead of C's.
Yeah, that.
Or WrestleMania Fest. You're saying
WrestleMania Fest. Wait.
WrestleMania Access with X's?
WrestleMania Fest.
Oh, you should have gone with your instincts. It was WrestleMania Access.
Well, because they still do that, but I didn't know if they did that back then.
But now isn't it All Access? Or is it just Access?
It was WrestleMania Access. I don't know. It's still with 2 X's.
Okay, right. Which superstars, as soon as it's X's in place of other letters, that's generally like Z's and X's instead of the normal letters. That's WWE. Anyways.
Or
20.
2 Ks.
Right, for Braun Breaker. Which superstar's career came to an end after a match against The Undertaker at WrestleMania 26?
Oh, I don't know. I've never heard of this before.
I don't know who that would be. But I mean,
Shawn Michaels.
It's not true because his career didn't end.
That's true.
It stopped for a while.
Almost a decade.
But yes, Shawn Michaels is correct. 21. Hulk Hogan won the first ever main event at WrestleMania. Who was his opponent?
I pity the fool who doesn't get it right.
Right.
Mr. T.
Correct.
Famous boxer, Mr. T.
Who has the record for beating the same superstar? This is a good question. Who has the record for beating the same superstar the most at WrestleMania? And I have options, but I figure you could probably think about it. So same opponent beat him the most times.
Austin.
No, that is one of your options.
Taker.
Versus?
Triple H.
Correct. Very good.
3 times.
Yes. Which of these superstars served as a guest referee during a WrestleMania 20 match between Goldberg and Lesnar?
Steve Austin.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Final answer?
He stunned both of them.
Correct.
And the
Of
crowd,
course he did. He stuns everyone.
Well, that was the only time the crowd cheered that match because they were both on their way out, so the crowd booed the whole time.
That match was painful. You're right.
It was that match.
Because there was no effort involved. Which of these WWE superstars ended The Undertaker's winning streak? Need options? Probably not.
Brock Lesnar.
Correct.
Roman Reigns beat him 2 years later. No, 3 years later.
Which of these WWE superstars had his hair shaved by Donald Trump at WrestleMania?
Well, I'd call him a megastar, but Vince McMahon.
That is correct.
And he proceeded to wear a do-rag and win the ECW title.
That's right. Which WWE legend delivered the infamous line, "I'm sorry, I love you," before defeating Ric Flair to end his career?
Jonathan Michaels.
That's an iconic moment. Even I know that one. Who doesn't remember anything? That is in my mind. Which of these boxers did Shawn Michaels get knocked out by at WrestleMania?
Mickey Rourke.
Nope.
What? No.
Your options?
Oh, wait, that was Jericho.
Yeah.
Oh, Tyson.
Correct.
What?
Wow, you don't know anything about wrestling. This is what we learn every week, that you don't know much. Which WrestleMania marked the beginning of the Austin era?
Mania 13?
No.
12?
Close. No.
14?
Correct.
I would say 13 because that was the Bret Hart match, but...
And then what was 14?
When he won the title from...
So I guess...
Michaels. I guess that's fair.
They're saying that's the start of the era when he has his title.
I guess so. That'd be sort of... I was just thinking because, like, the submission match was
a big deal
turning point.
It was,
for him,
right? That was the double. Was that the double turn?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's famous too. Final question: which of these superstars inflicted a body slam on Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3?
Inflicted
and
a
what
body
would be
slam.
one of the most iconic WrestleMania moments? Talk about a hard question to end with.
I'm assuming Bobby Heenan slammed him.
Definitely.
Right? Hulk Hogan.
Correct. So now, just pulling some, because they always do this at the end of the chapter, there's Did You Know? So I'm going to turn it into a question. Which WrestleMania, or what year did WrestleMania have the first women's match as a main event?
Oh, 2019.
Correct.
35.
And which WrestleMania had the most people in attendance according to WWE
Mania
who
32?
lie? Yes, who lie about their attendance all the time. Do you remember approximately
it was
what?
like 101,000 something.
Why would you know that?
That was my first WrestleMania.
101,763. Very good.
That's my first Mania.
So not only did you know almost all the questions, you knew the Did You Know section as well. So good job.
I did know. I answered that question too. Did you know? I did.
You did know, in fact. Very well done. Now we'll go back to talking about more wrestling as we take a look at, we're back at it this week with NXT UK. All right, so NXT UK this week. This should be fresh in our minds because we watched it shortly before coming down here, right? So
on Saturday.
I've still got notes though, but I should remember most of it. Biggest thing we noticed was what right off the bat? Well, you noticed.
There's actual people. It took me a second, but I was like, oh my god, actual people.
I feel like maybe that's part of what was making us like, this is not as good as it was, right? Because they suddenly went to no people. They had people when we were liking it, I think.
Yeah, because I think they stopped having people after that empty arena match.
Yeah, they did, right?
It's kind of
funny.
People
walked out and then never came
they
back.
just never came back.
Until this week, I guess. But anyways, so the show opens with a video package of Isla Dawn attacking Meiko Satomura a few weeks ago, and then a few little talking sound bites or whatever from each of them going into tonight's main event title match. We go right into our first match, which is De Familia, Rohan Raja.
The world's greatest theme song.
Rohan Raja and Charlie Dempsey, which is a cool combination.
But I just think it's kind of funny that now they're just shifting, like, because I thought it was I thought it was Raja and Teo Man.
Right.
So like, it's just kind of weird that they just switched. You
know?
Yeah.
Facing new NXT 2.0 jobber, we'll talk about that later. A-Kid and his friend, I don't know, Saxon Huxley, right? Who he's trying to turn from a madman
to a gentleman.
Right. So really early on, we get a nice leaping kick by A-Kid to Dempsey. Huxley then dominates for a bit with a pretty unorthodox style. We get a half and half with a bridge by Dempsey, a fisherman suplex with a bridge by Dempsey for 2. A Huxley hot tag leads to a Thez press to Dempsey for 2. Teo Man, the finish comes. He causes a distraction, and Rohan Raja hits like a leaping flatliner, I guess, for the win. I thought this was actually a pretty fun. It didn't get a ton of time, but it was a fast-paced opener. I really like Dempsey in this because we saw some more of his technical offense, and he does things a little bit differently. Like, I don't know
It's
if you
just like
noticed, but
I
he
don't know,
does like
like
he did like kind of like a, I don't know if it's the right word, but it was like a dragon screw, but it was different and it looked cool. And even just his bridging suplexes look really good. Like his bridge is really high and really strong. I
right.
find him, like you do too, I think he's really interesting to me. So I enjoyed this. I'm happy De Familia picked up a win too because I like their faction and I want them to start building some momentum. Because we know that's the most important thing in WWE is momentum, right? So,
Right.
I thought this was a good TV opener, like a good NXT UK opener, right? They only have an hour show, so you can't be putting on like 15, 20-minute clinics all the time. But I thought this was a fun opening match. What about you?
Yeah, I think it's pretty solid. I like you said. I think Dempsey's super interesting. So I like being able to see him. I think he's kind of interesting. I think Raja's pretty solid too.
He
Like
is. He's
nothing like special, but I think he's pretty good. Um, and I think like Huxley's okay. I think A Kid was solid, but not on his best here. Like
I feel like his
it was a
stock has
solid.
fallen somehow.
Yeah, it was. I wonder what could have happened. It's not like he was doing anything that might make him look weak.
What do you mean?
He's not at all looking
In
weak
NXT?
anywhere, right?
No, but this was probably before, I guess, right? I don't know.
Taped.
Yeah.
No. Well, if we're going like in kayfabe, it takes
Yes.
place after.
Yes.
So, I guess like, but I think it was a solid opener, just nothing like.
No, it didn't blow me away,
Not
but
gonna,
I was
exactly.
kept
That's what I
my
was gonna
held
say.
my
Not gonna blow
interest.
you away. Yeah.
Yep. We then get a recap of Wild Boar showing up and attacking Symbiosis. I think that was last week. And
2 weeks ago.
we learned that Wild Boar will face Tyson T-Bone, who is now, as you noticed, just T-Bone.
Which I don't know. I feel like they probably
Because-
already changed that, but I didn't notice.
Because WWE. That's your reason.
Although this one I actually think kind of works, like just because it's
It's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other for me. I don't care either way.
Well,
just
just
I
'cause
don't
it's
care
like-
much about T-Bone in general.
yeah.
but
it doesn't matter a lot, but I think this one kind of fits.
Right.
Like, it works.
So Amal is trying to give her thoughts on the upcoming Mako Satomura Isla Dawn match tonight, but she's immediately interrupted by Zaya Brookside, who's being really sweet and pleasant because she wants a rematch. Amal ends up accepting the rematch, and then it's Zaya by herself on the phone with Daddy, and she sounds like devious and conniving. And maybe that somebody else is coming. I can't.
Mischievous.
That maybe she's got people coming. I'm not sure, but anyways, that's her standard thing. I feel like her character work's getting better. I don't know if I need to see another Amal Zaya Brookside match, but I guess we're gonna get one. That's fine. I don't know. It'll be like one of those middle of the show matches that isn't bad, probably. So,
But it's just kind of there.
right. We then do get T-Bone versus Wild Boar. Boar enters through the crowd, right? Chases Symbiosis away quickly, and then he's struggling at the beginning of this because he really wants to get at Eddie Dennis because I guess he kicked him out of the group. So he keeps kind of turning his attention to Eddie Dennis, which is allowing T-Bone to take control. He sends Wild Boar to the floor into the barricade. And then a little bit later, like Boar's leg was kind of on the ropes and T-Bone attacks his leg. We end up getting a fall-away slam later by T-Bone, German suplex, and then a T-Bone suplex, wink, wink, by Wild Boar to T-Bone. And then we get sort of a spear that shoves T-Bone back into the corner. Primate looks like he's trying to get involved here, but he gets knocked down, and Wild Boar hits like I put a leaping underhook, quote, question mark DDT. It wasn't just a normal DDT, I didn't think.
I didn't catch it.
I think it might have been underhook, but anyways. So he DDTs T-Bone for the win, and then Boar sort of chases Eddie Dennis out of there. I find Wild Boar really interesting because he's very short but very strong, and I just kind of like wrestlers that look different, and I think he's got good intensity. I don't know, I quite like him. I'm not a big fan of Tyson T-Bone. He's just got that like brawling style, and then he'll throw in like one suplex and one fall-away slam. So I don't know. For what it was, I thought it was fine. I don't think it was a great match, but a decent reintroduction to Wild Boar, who picks up a win. I guess he's kind of maybe working his way up to face Eddie Dennis, because Eddie Dennis does wrestle, right? So I imagine he's maybe fighting his way to the final boss here.
I think it'd be interesting for him to face Primate because they were the tag team.
They were. I like Wild Boar. There's something about him I find just kind of different.
He's
and
not like
interesting.
the best, but I think he's just kind of interesting.
Yeah,
kind
he's
of
cool.
funny looking, but like he looks cool.
Yep, I like.
I think it was solid. Like not like the not the best match, but I think it was good. Like I don't know, their styles. It's not like the most like it's not like work rate, but I think T-Bone's fine. I think Wild Boar is pretty cool, so I liked it just as like a showcase a bit for Wild Boar.
Yeah, T-Bone's a brawler, and you've got to have brawlers, but I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of him. Ilya Dragunov quickly talks about Roderick Strong then. Ilya, using a little bit of wordplay here, he says that he had to be strong to become champion, and he and Strong know that diamonds are made under pressure, referring to the diamond mine gimmick, I guess. He says it'll be an honor to face Strong, but Dragunov is a diamond that doesn't crack under pressure. Not my favorite Dragunov promo. It felt kind of heavily.
I kind of liked it.
Felt kind of heavily scripted, right? But
it is kind of funny because he said what Strong, something on NXT he just did. He just lost to someone or something.
He sure did. We'll get to that. He lost pretty quickly. So again, it's like we're gonna swap A-Kid and Roderick Strong and have them just, I don't know, not do very well.
I'm kind of okay with it because I think Strong versus Dragunov will be sick.
That could be awesome because they are both willing to beat the hell out of each other. So
yeah, I don't mind this excursion for Roddy.
No, I don't either.
Like even if it's like super short term.
Especially if he's gonna stay on NXT and just lose to rookies every week, I'm fine with him going elsewhere.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's really odd and random, but I'm not complaining.
Nope, the match should be good. So a little thing here was a bit strange. Earlier in the week, Kenny Williams is leaving the building and he finds out that his car's basically been stripped. It's up on blocks. The wheels are gone. I think there was other damage or doors open. Looks like his car's been raided or whatever. He says that someone is messing with him, and then whoever the interviewer or person off camera asks if he thinks it's related to the note from last week, which I don't remember, and I think I actually watched last week. But anyways, and he tells
it's obviously Gradwell.
He tells whoever asked the question to get out of his face. That seems where it's going, right? And I think Kenny has decent charisma, right? And
I kind of like him.
He does work as a heel, I think. I guess this is an attempt to add a bit of mystery to NXT UK.
Right. The only thing I didn't like is that like it's obviously Gradwell. Like who else does he have issues with?
Unless they're going to swerve us. But yeah, I mean that seems to be where it's going, right? That they've been having this kind of battle, and he dared to cut off Gradwell's fabulous locks of hair, right?
So locks and locks.
Literally lock, maybe. It was like one tiny chunk, but anyways.
Right.
Yeah, it was fine. Kenny Williams, I think, is a good performer.
Yeah, so I kind of like him.
Me too. We then get my favorite jobber or enhancement talent, which is Danny Jones. I like this guy. I don't know what it is about him. Anyways, he's facing Jordan Devlin here. We get stiff strikes to start before a back elbow takes Danny Jones down. We get some rope running, ending in a pretty stiff knee to Jones' midsection. Jones, a little bit later, fires up, lands some forearms, and Insagiri a high knee and an exploder suplex for a 2 count and a nice little flurry. Then Jones has, I rewound this to show you, he has him Devlin in a chin lock and then sort of flips him over his hip, maintaining his grip and transitioning into a submission. I thought it looked cool, actually. Eventually, Devlin hits his slingshot cutter that stops Jones' momentum, and then Devlin hits a pretty nasty looking brainbuster to pick up the win here. I like this. Danny Jones is my favorite enhancement talent, and I thought he showcased some good fire here and some cool offense that I thought looked good. So Devlin didn't get as much as I thought. Like I thought it was going to be a more dominant performance for Devlin, but the finishing combination of the cutter, springboard cutter, and the brainbuster looked pretty good. And again, he didn't even need his main finisher to finish Danny Jones, which I'm okay with. So I thought for like a mid-show enhancement match, this was pretty good. You?
Yeah, I think I don't like him as much, but I think Danny Jones is pretty good as far as jobbers go. I think he tends to land some cool offense. Like I think he works well. Like if he's putting over a good talent like Devlin, I think it works really well.
He's believable as competitive, right? I think.
Yeah, I think he gets in some cool offense. He's competitive and does it well. And then Devlin gets a solid win. I think all around a good enhancement match.
Yeah.
Better than the Wild Boar match.
Yeah. We then get a recap of Mustache Mountain and the Carter Smith situation that then transitions into like a back and forth promo between the two. So basically, Mustache Mountain, Carter and Smith want a rematch, and basically Mustache Mountain have said if you beat us in singles matches, you can have a rematch. So Carter has already beaten Tyler Bate, and Smith will face Trent Seven, and if he can beat Seven, they will get a rematch, I believe, and I think that's next week. So Seven is then shown trying to adopt some of Tyler Bates' methods, right? Like meditation and his whole Zen attitude, saying that it seems to work for Bate. So Seven's gimmick seems to be right now that he will do anything to remain a champion, right? So
because he's like more of the veteran, I think.
And I feel like what's going to happen, and I thought this was a solid back and forth promo, right? I like that style of promo. We've talked about that. I think it sort of limits the amount people can say. So if they're not super strong, it hides that a little bit. But because the focus seems to be on Trent being willing to do anything to win, my guess is that he's going to be willing to cheat at some point, and that's not going to sit well
Right.
with Bate, who's like the ultimate Zen babyface, right? So I feel like that's where it's going, maybe
Yeah, I
leading
could see that definitely being
to a
where it goes,
Mustache
yeah.
Mountain split, which could be a nice lengthy feud between those two, which would have some sick matches too. So I'm okay if that's where it's going. What did you think of this?
Yeah, I like it. I think the back and forth promos were cool. I think it makes more sense for Carter to be beating Bate than Ashton Smith being Trent Seven, because Trent Seven's more desperate, but also Ashton Smith is just he's Ashton
Because
Smith.
I've been impressed with Carter lately, right? But Smith's kind of bland still, I think.
Yeah, he's just
He can
kinda,
wrestle, but I don't really care
Yeah.
that much, you know?
So I guess he'll probably win just to get him another title shot.
I
but,
think so too.
I thought this was cool. This was fine. Like I like the style, so that helps for sure.
My guess would be they get their rematch, 7 cheats to win. Maybe Tyler Bate doesn't notice in the moment or something, finds out later, doesn't like it. Chaos ensues, etc., etc. Could be wrong, but it feels like that to me.
No, that makes sense.
We then get a video package that's sort of, I guess Mark Coffey's going to get a Heritage Cup shot as Noam Dar is sort of taking on the members of Gallus, it looks like. So Coffey will be next week. Coffey says he's learned from everyone else's mistakes against Dar, but mentions kind of that he hasn't had many singles matches in NXT UK. And Dar sort of mocks him for this, refers to him, I think, as like the driver for Gallus kind of thing, and says that this match against Dar is kind of the peak of Coffey's time in NXT. So I thought it was fine. I'm not a huge Mark Coffey fan. Noam Dar is always entertaining, but I can't imagine Coffey wins this match. Hopefully it's a good match. I prefer Joe Coffey. I don't know if I've seen many Mark Coffey singles matches, so I'm kind of interested from that
He
point.
had the one against Shaw Samuels.
Oh, right. So I don't know. This was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. I'm not big on Mark Coffey, like Joe Coffey, but that being said, he just hasn't had as much as Joe.
No.
But I do think Joe's
But I
better.
think there's probably a reason for that too,
Yeah,
right?
But I guess this could be okay because Dar's really good, but
Yep. Main event time for the NXT UK Women's Championship. Isla Dawn. She has faced Meiko Satomura before, and she will face her again here. So right away, Isla Dawn is sort of just face washing or shoving Meiko's face, right? And that fires Meiko up. She lands some hard strikes right away. And then they end up in the ropes, and Isla Dawn obviously is going to do an unclean break, and that gives her the advantage for a while. A little later, there's some quick strikes and kicks from Meiko that look pretty good. Dawn then snaps Meiko's neck over the top rope to gain the advantage again. Meiko gets run into the barricade and hit with a high knee. Another high knee in the ring I thought looked pretty nice from Isla Dawn takes Meiko down. Running double knees by Dawn for 2. Spinning heel kick from Meiko now shifts the momentum back. We get a Saito suplex. Sorry, what am I supposed to call it? A doomsday doomsday suplex. Sorry, Saito suplex by Meiko for a 2 count. Isla Dawn gets her knees up on a Meiko frog splash. We get a fisherman suplex by Dawn for a near fall. Rolling kick and a Death Valley driver by Meiko for a 2 count. A DDT by Meiko, but Isla Dawn avoids the handspring kick that I think is Meiko's finisher, right? So she moves out of the way of that. And then I'm such a great, maybe you can give me a technical name, but the roll up that Meiko won with,
right,
where her legs kind of like behind Isla Dawn's neck. I don't know what to call it, but it looked pretty cool. And so Meiko wins with this modified roll up. I don't know what to call it. Isla Dawn steals the title, and you pointed out like Meiko didn't really put up a fight as Isla Dawn just grabbed. Because Isla Dawn's gimmick is she loves trophies from every match, right? Like she wants to take something, a memento, and put it in her little box of treasures. So she's stolen the title and she leaves, basically, and that's pretty much the show, right? I like this match. Isla Dawn, again, like seems to be a theme tonight. It's a lot of people I didn't expect getting a ton of offense in matches, so she got a lot of time on offense. I thought she looked pretty good. I didn't think Meiko looked quite as good as usual, maybe because she was selling for so much, but I think maybe she's trying to elevate Isla Dawn. They really need to elevate somebody, right? Because who's believable as a champion right now? I mean, I thought they did a decent job with Davenport, but then she...
Okay, considering I will take anything, and I mean absolutely anything.
Yeah.
Send Baszler.
Send Baszler, right. So we got the result I expected here. I thought it was a pretty solid main event. I don't think it was a blowaway match, but I enjoyed it.
I think it was all right. I think Don got in some solid offense, but I think at the same time some of it was just kind of basic.
Yeah.
But I think generally she was fine. I think the finish was okay.
Yeah.
I don't love another stealing belt storyline, but
and I think Mako,
whatever.
I would have been fine with Mako winning by her finisher, right? Like,
right.
I
think should have been more decisive.
I think that's supposed to make Dawn look strong because Mako had to use like an alternate finisher, but I don't know.
And
I didn't love
then
that
she
choice.
could steal the title, but then I don't know why Mako did not seem like hard pressed to try to take the title back then and there. So
no, she didn't make much of an effort.
Didn't even try to grab it when there's a tug of war and try to chase after her. Like, oh no, you're out of the ring. You took my thing.
Right.
I'm in the ring. I cannot get you until next week.
Right.
Like, I thought that was kind of, but I think the match itself was fine. Just nothing like amazing.
Main event, the overall thoughts. I was mostly entertained. Like, I didn't think there was any bad matches. Was there anything that was like amazing and I'm like, you better go out and watch it if you didn't see it? No. But I thought the show moved along at a pretty good pace. I don't think there was anything I disliked. Maybe some stuff wasn't as strong as it could be, but overall I thought it was a pretty solid show. I'm going to settle in on a B, just short of a B+, I think. Like, I enjoyed it, but again, none of the matches were like awesome, but none of them were bad either.
Yeah.
Right? And I didn't think I didn't hate any segment, because there were a few weeks in a row where we were like, there's some pretty stupid segments, right?
The quest for the leather vest.
Right. So, that seems to have gone away for a bit,
rhyme.
which I'm fine. But yeah, I thought it was a B show, like worth watching, but not amazing.
Mm-hmm. I think that's fair. I think everything on the show was like good or fine. Nothing amazing, nothing terrible. I think some segments I like, some of them I like less. Some of the matches I like, some of them I like less. I'd go with a B, maybe like a little on the lower side.
Yep.
But I would say like a B is a fair spot. Yeah.
Nice. All right, so that's gonna wrap up NXT UK, and we're gonna shift into
your favorite show.
What might be our final segment? Do we have any figuring out? Do we know yet?
I don't know. There might be a little bit, but I don't think there's a ton.
But anyways, we'll move into the next segment at least, which we call Any Other Wrestling Business. All right, so the only thing I have for Any Other Wrestling Business this week is
everyone's favorite wrestling show.
Beloved NXT 2.0.
I mean, hey, it is. You can't say it's not. You know now.
That I review for you listeners, because you should not watch it on your own. You should simply let me watch it and summarize it for you. Because
if you're already here,
not worth watching.
Do not come just for an NXT review. If you do, I would be sincerely hurt.
So this episode starts with Mello and Trick Williams arriving to the arena in their Bentley. And reminder that there will be 2 more qualifying matches tonight for the ladder match at Stand and Deliver. And Trick lists all of the people involved in the 2 matches tonight. And we're straight into the first match between 2 of those people. And that is Solo Sikoa taking on recent transfer student to NXT UK, Roderick Strong, for a spot in the ladder match at Stand and Deliver. So
wait, so based on who's staying and who's not, I wonder
who's going to win this, right? Based on also the NXT formula of veterans lose to rookies.
I also wonder who's going to hit a Samoan splash through a ladder.
Right. Yeah, probably.
Also, I think they're going to another venue. Like, they're going to do, like, an arena or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I don't know if it's an arena, but, like, point is, not PC.
Right. So that's something.
Cool.
That's not nothing.
Of course, they waited till bad NXT to do that.
Right. So both these guys are working what I call the pretty boring striking and, like, ground and pound style, with Strong not showcasing what I love about him, which is his speed and technical ability, right? Like, not much of that. Whether Sikoa's not ready for it, or I don't know what it was, but it was pretty ordinary. There is a backbreaker by Strong, an angle slam by Strong. Escobar walks out. He's one that's already qualified for the ladder match, so I guess he's here scouting or whatever. Samoan drop by Sikoa. They both go up top. Roddy gets pushed off, hit with a splash, and Sikoa wins in just over 9 minutes. Just further evidence, right, of the role of veterans on this show, I think. Put over the young talent. I really thought this was a very ordinary, for Roderick Strong, this is about as ordinary as it's going to get. Like, not a bad match.
Which sucks because he's pretty ordinary out of the ring.
He is. Very bland. So not a bad match, but really just kind of there. Like if you're grading a match, like it's a C- kind of thing. Like it doesn't fail, but it's not very good. But speaking of not very good, Indy and Persia talk about an article that was in TMZ that must have been planted by WWE. There must have been a promotional
or
fee.
either it's fake. It could be that.
Well, I just think it's a real article, but I think that they did not do it on their own. They were
of course.
prompted
If
to
there's
do
an
it.
article, like of course it's not real.
So it was about their makeout competition. So they're arguing about who the article was really more about and who has more views on social media or whatever. I don't care. So here's you ready for this?
They should argue about who has more swipes on Tinder.
Persia says Index is out and Duja is in.
Love it.
And she says that, or Indy comes back and says Loomis will defeat Tony D'Angelo tonight, and Persia can come watch if she wants. Bad idea, Indy. Anyways, this was adolescent Valley girls arguing about inconsequential things, and it was awful.
From
and
way
annoying.
down under.
So just like this isn't how adults behave. These isn't what adults would say. This isn't. Anyways, it's fine. I say it every week. It's for adolescents, pre-teens. This is like a tween show at this point. I feel like Tony D'Angelo's taken on Dexter Loomis. So we've got a rookie versus a veteran.
God, I remember they had this match before and it wasn't very good.
So I wonder what's going to happen. Rookie versus veteran on NXT 2.0.
That's a win for Dexter.
We'll see. So Indy, Duke Hudson, and Persia Parada are all there, and we're told how well they are all doing on social media. My notes say because that's how teenagers measure their worth. So maybe not just
true.
teenagers, but as a person with no social media, I can't relate. We get I was talking to someone today who didn't believe me. Like, you've never had any social media. I'm like, no, nothing, ever. Come on. Not even, because I'm old, right? So not even Facebook? I'm like, no, never. But anyways. Big belly to belly by Tony early on. Fall away slam by Loomis. Barrett calls Loomis a freak in the bedroom. Really, Wade Barrett? Like, oh my God, what is this show?
He's also the one who said Gunthar.
D'Angelo puts his hat on mid-match at ringside for some reason. Thought that was notable. We get a corner clothesline.
It is funny.
Corner clothesline into a bulldog by Loomis before a back suplex. You know how he does his little flurry and he ends it with a leg drop? Leg drop completely missed because Tony D'Angelo was rolling to do something else, but Loomis went for the cover anyways. It was a pretty awesome spot. Like I'll probably send you a link to it because it's pretty funny. Like completely whiffs on the leg drop, go for the cover anyways, bud, because that's what you do. Anyways, obviously Duke Hudson distracts Dexter Loomis. D'Angelo is going for his crowbar, and Persia's trying to stop him from getting the crowbar. But as Tony D rips it away from her, it hits Loomis, and then he follows up with his fisherman suplex, and Tony D'Angelo picks up the win here. Honestly, another very average match. And I've actually liked some Tony D'Angelo matches, right? This one was pretty average. The veteran puts over the newcomer, obviously. I think it was a little bit better than the opener, but still nothing special at all. It was clear a distraction finish was coming as soon as Indy invites Persia to come watch the match, right? Like, obviously you're telegraphing that, and it did happen. I guess Persia accidentally helping Tony knock out Loomis is kind of probably going to be the last straw for Indy, as if anyone actually cares. So D'Angelo cuts a promo after ripping Tommaso Ciampa and claiming that he will become the new Dawn of NXT. Ciampa sneaks up behind him, hits a Willow's Bell, talks about stand and deliver, basically implying that it'll be his final match and he's going to go out on a fairy tale ending. Yikes.
Me and Oster bound.
Scripted madness. Mackenzie is then talking to Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. Roode reminds us he's a former NXT champion and that he made NXT what it is today. Not true, but okay. Ziggler wants Roode to pummel Breakker tonight, but to leave some scraps for him at Stand and Deliver. Very standard stuff. Totally fine. Grayson Waller is talking. He said he needs to be on the marquee for Stand and Deliver. He won his last man standing match, and he will win the ladder match at Stand and Deliver. But first, he must beat A-Kid. Don't worry, you will pretty quickly. Yep. He spends a bit of time putting over A-Kid, but he's confident that A-Kid will not win. So am I. I think actually a solid promo. Waller has good charisma. He's one of the new crop that I have some time for. Like the promo itself was pretty generic, but he delivers it pretty well. We then get Elektra Lopez versus Fallon Henley. So Fallon Henley, she's accompanied to the ring by Briggs and Jensen, and obviously Mendoza and Wilder there too. So Henley's ring gear is now more in line with Briggs and Jensen. She's like wearing cutoff jean shorts.
Country girl.
Yeah, exactly. So the men at some point, pretty early on, brawl on the floor and they get thrown out. So Henley gets a brief flurry in after that distraction, but Lopez ends up hitting a blue thunder bomb for the win in under 4 minutes. So it's one of those matches. The usual NXT enhancement match.
One of those matches.
Although I will say, Henley seems to be decent in her role. So I think she's got, like, to me, I'd rather watch a Fallon Henley match than a Cora Jade match, right? And one of them is like the face of the division, basically, and one is a jobber. So I would reverse those roles. Well, maybe not face of the division, but so I think
if it had to be those two,
right? I think Henley might become something more than enhancement talent down the line, hopefully. In the Emmy award-winning segment for acting here, Draco Anthony's in the locker room, ignoring repeated phone calls from Joe Gacy, who's still trying to recruit him to his little group. And Zion Quinn walks in. So they watch one of Gacy's messages together, because that's what you do. And he's still recruiting Anthony. Anthony says, I think Quinn starts speaking, and you know what you need to do. And Anthony's like, I need to handle this like a man, whatever that means in 2022. And Quinn says,
that means aligning with Briggs and Jensen.
That's right. They're the manliest men. And Quinn says he has Anthony's back if he needs it. Wow, Zion Quinn does not sound comfortable speaking. He is completely devoid of emotion, and wooden is the word to use for him. It was not great. I feel like there's a chance that this ends up with Quinn screwing over Draco Anthony and Quinn maybe joining Gacy because...
So he rejected Legado to join Gacy in Harlem.
We are learning that he needs someone to speak for him at this point, and Gacy can do that, right? So, or maybe I'm just trying to make this stuff more interesting because I'm bored watching the show, so I'm like fantasy booking because it's a welcome distraction from this product, I guess, right? Anyways. Mackenzie then talks to Wendy Chu and Dakota Kai. Chu says Kai will win the Dusty Cup this year with her new best friend, because they're best friends now.
Because they didn't like each other, but they started teaming.
And we have no idea why, but they're friends now. So Chu runs down the issues between Kai and Gonzalez. Kai was skeptical about Chu, but tonight she'll win the cup for the second time, and nobody else has done that or something.
Well, because there's only been one other one, so how could anyone do that? Raquel's.
But I think she's referring to the men's as well.
I guess.
So apparently Dakota Kai's severe mental health problems have drastically improved from 1 week to the next.
Or they've deteriorated so bad that she's best friends with Wendy too.
Right. Yes. But we have no idea why, since that was never part of this riveting story, right? Like, so all of these changes happen. They go from being indifferent to probably disliking to being best friends. And Dakota Kai goes from like split personality disorder to fine. And God forbid you actually develop any of this story for us, right? Nope, just tell us, right? Don't show us anything, just tell us. That's great writing. Good job. So I guess this was fine. It's just really hard to care about. Like, these characters are just underdeveloped, and they just change from week to week for no reason. So, and again, they're not behaving like human beings, so it's awkward to get into. There's hard to connect with any people on this show for me. Robert Roode taking on Braun Breaker. So guess what? You have a veteran taking on a rookie. Any predictions on this one?
Robert Roode had a triumphant return.
They're going to swerve you and give one veteran a win. Nope. Dolph Ziggler's at ringside, obviously. We get a suplex by Roode, who turns to acknowledge the crowd. Breaker pops up from the suplex, runs over Roode. Ziggler gets involved to help Roode avoid a Breaker corner spear, and that causes Breaker to hit the ring post. So the ref did catch it, sends Ziggler to the back. No DQ or anything. Blockbuster by Roode.
I guess he didn't attack Breaker.
I guess, technically. Frankensteiner by Breaker. Belly-to-belly overhead by Breaker. Spinebuster by Roode. Straps down spear by Breaker for a near fall.
Ooh.
Glorious DDT for a near fall. And then Roode comes off the second rope, gets caught, and just a regular old power slam pins him. And Breaker wins in about 15 minutes, which did not need to be.
An Iron Man match.
On NXT, that is. Breaker walks backwards up the ramp celebrating and
which you should never do.
Right. Gets floored by a Ziggler super kick, so Ziggler holds the belt in his face and taunts him. A good enough match, I guess, but it felt like a main roster TV match for sure. Every match so far outside of the women's match has felt basically the same, right? The match gets some time. It's pretty basic. The veteran puts over the youngster. So at best, the matches have been solid. Nothing really standing out to this point. But I think it's obvious at this point, Breaker can hang with the main roster talent. So I think he's going to be gone sooner than later, which seems to be what the reports are, right?
Yeah, but the plan's also for him to win the title back.
Right. But then, I mean, he could basically just leave it and go still, right? Like he
So
could
win the title back for a second time, only to
vacate
vacate it,
right.
so making it even
and then
more
he
useless.
could be two-time NXT champion when he gets on the, I don't know. But
Making it
anyways.
even more meaningless,
Right.
the title, and to be a 2-time champion.
So just because it's a riveting story, we're back to Indy and Dexter. They're backstage and icing Loomis's head from the shot with the crowbar. Hudson and Persia come in. Persia basically, Indy's like, did you do it on purpose? Persia's like, no, he yanked it away from me and accidentally hit Loomis. Persia claims Duke can beat anyone, and Loomis, oh my god. There's an easel there with paper, and in about 20 seconds, Loomis draws a picture of Walter. So I guess that's Duke's next opponent, and in fact, it'll happen on this show, because we make matches, and they happen immediately.
Short-term booking.
So more people
Well, when you don't have to go to management.
You draw a picture or say it out loud, and it happens.
I assume
right?
Walter's probably watching, or he'll get notified, I guess.
So Ridiculous Feud, another segment, just as pointless as the rest. Chase University switching it up, finally,
Ooh.
a little bit. It's basically Bodie is presenting an essay on fortitude. He talks about Von Wagner attacking Chase University, or Andre Chase, I guess, and Bodie showing fortitude. Some student interrupts Bodie just like they interrupt Chase, and he snaps on him just like Andre Chase does. And then Andre Chase wants to know where Bodie learned this behavior, almost like he's going to discipline him. And Bodie says, well, actually, I learned it from you, Chase. And then, of course, Chase loves it. Bodie claims he's going to beat Von Wagner next week.
Oh, so they're basically confirming you'll have to watch Von Wagner next week.
Of course. He is must-see TV. I imagine
true.
you'll be back to watch that.
You know, if he's wrestling, I guess I have to be.
How could you not? So I guess at the end of the day, this was a little bit different, because I'm always saying it's been the same since week 1, but not very much, right? It's basically the same formula, just plugging Bodie in for Andre's role. And I guess that means we're going to get Wagner next week. So yay to that.
Yay.
So A-Kid versus Grayson Waller. So you've got a little bit of a veteran versus a rookie. What do you think? God, it's so repetitive. It's nonsense. Solo Sikoa comes down to watch this match because wrestlers be scouting, yo. Suicide dive by A-Kid, who then counters Waller's rolling cutter into a submission. A nice second rope Russian leg sweep. Waller hits his rolling cutter and wins in less than
3 minutes.
Yes.
How did I know?
So frustrating. Like, A-Kid is awesome. These guys could, and Grayson Waller, I think, is actually good. These guys could have had a match that, anyways, it's annoying.
Could have, should have, would have, didn't.
Mello gets on the apron, announces that all of the losers of the qualifiers will face off. Did we not talk about that being an option?
Yeah, they always do that.
Right. So they'll face off in a triple threat for the last spot in the ladder match.
Wait, there's only 3 losers? Shouldn't there be 4 losers?
No, because he wants 4 people in the match, so now there's 3 already, and he needs a 4th.
No, but...
Right? Is that
right.
not correct? Yes. So he disses A-Kid. Trick starts to talk to add on to it, but A-Kid lands that nice jumping kick to the head and then escapes and leaves. So I actually kind of like Waller, but why does A-Kid have to lose so quickly? Could you not, like, Breaker Rude was 15 minutes for no good reason. Could you not have plucked 3 or 4 minutes from that and given these guys, like, they could have a decent 6-minute match, I'm pretty confident. I don't know. This made A-Kid look like enhancement talent. It makes me think there's not plans on him staying very long, that they're just going to have him put some people over and ship him back to the UK, which, whatever, I guess. It's fine. And I was right about the second chance triple threat, and so were you, right? But that could be...
That's like the most predictable thing.
But that's Grimes A-Kid strong. So that's good.
Oh, true.
Right? That's all veterans, so I don't know who's going to win. Who's the youngest? A-Kid, probably?
A-Kid. Well, but he's also not from there, though.
Right.
So...
He doesn't even go here.
Catch-22.
Right. So we get Von Wagner, thank goodness, and Robert Stone. They're talking about beating Bodie, what is it, Hayward, I think, next week?
Bodie Hayward, yes.
Before moving on. And then remember the attractive woman who was in the crowd that I was like, there's no way she's an
Right.
actual fan because wrestling fans. And it's true.
Because wrestling fan.
So she walks up and wants to talk business with Stone, who walks off with her. So great, I guess. We're supposed to be intrigued by who this woman is and what she wants, so fine.
Unless you don't care.
The Creeds take on the Grizzled Young Veterans. Hey, Jack, question for you. So
Okay.
it's veterans taking on rookies. Jesus. So what do you think's going to happen? Copy, paste.
Grizzled Young Veterans
Taking
get the
on
win.
the Young Creeds. So
The
anyways,
Young Creeds, that should be their official name.
Gibson walks to the ring doing his usual ranting, right? And it's fun. I thought this was funny because he's talking about jumping the Creeds before the bell the last time, and then they just immediately attack the Creeds before the bell. So I thought that was pretty cool. But that was about it. The Creeds quickly take over and dominate. Grizzled Young Veterans actually get control of Julius, but he eventually hits Gibson with a belly-to-belly. Stretch muffler by Julius to Gibson. Actually, Grizzled Young Veterans get a flurry of double-team moves, and it kind of leaves Julius alone, and Grizzled Young Veterans kind of work him over for quite a bit. They got a lot more than I thought they would, actually, in this. Julius escapes the Doomsday Device, tags in Brutus, who destroys Drake with some kind of throw and that low sliding clothesline that you love so much for the win in just over 4 minutes. So they got extra time. It wasn't 3 minutes, it was 4 in this one. So that's like a feather in your cap, right? So post-match, a camera pops up in Diamond Mine's locker room showing that it has been destroyed, and some text appears on the screen. We don't hear a voice saying
even in the parking lot.
That the Creed brothers can't find them, so enjoy the view. Yes, it's whoever attacked them is now messing with them, right? So actually, for a short match, this wasn't bad. Grizzled Young Veterans were in control a lot more than I thought they would be, but it's another standard NXT match where the veterans have to lose to the rookies in a short match, so that's normal. The aftermatch was fine, or aftermath, I guess, was fine. Adds
there's a match after.
A little bit of mystery, I guess, to who attacked the Creeds. I'm always a sucker for that, so on a show of crap, anything that's less crap stands out, so it's fine. Walter's with Imperium as he heads to the ring to face Duke Hudson, and it's Walter versus Duke Hudson. The crowd is on board with me and not honoring Walter's new name, and they're chanting Walter's gonna kill you right away, which I liked. Walter's dominant early. Hudson tries to get things going, but basically Walter just chops the living crap out of him to stop any momentum.
Good for him, Walter.
Some of these chops sounded like a shotgun going off, and his chest was red by the end of this. Anyways, boot by Hudson, he chops Walter. Slingshot German suplex by Hudson. Didn't look great because it made Walter look a little bit silly, like bent over against the ropes waiting for it. But anyways, Hudson goes for a power bomb. Walter counters with a clothesline, 2 hard chops, a boot, and a power bomb for the win in about 4 minutes. So another standard NXT 3 to 4 minute match. Walter speaks briefly after, calls himself the most dominant competitor in NXT, or as my notes say, NTX. But you love my note mistakes, eh?
That's really funny.
He says he's overlooked, and it's a disgrace that someone like LA Knight can talk himself into title matches. Knight's music interrupts. He heads to the ring. Walter says that, I like this. He said he represents everything wrong with wrestling. Lots of talking and little skill. The line I liked was, Knight's mouth gets him into matches, but it doesn't get him wins. I thought that was good, right? Knight then threatens Walter, which I didn't like. Nobody should step to Walter, right? He should be intimidating. Although, since he's lost the husky boy body, he is less intimidating. I don't like fit Walter. I feel bad saying that.
Yeah.
But anyways, Walter attacks him, and Imperium are obviously numbers gaming Knight here until, guess who runs out to save LA Knight?
The biggest baby faces in the history of the Performance Center.
Who?
MSK.
Correct. Now, I might forget, have they been affiliated with Knight at all?
It's because they're feuding with Imperium.
I guess that's it, right? So they make the save. The baby faces stand tall. I actually thought this match was all it needed to be. Walter got a dominant, quick win. A veteran went over a young person. Is that even allowed? They must have made a mistake. I think Walter went into business for himself here.
Yeah, it's probably because, maybe they wrote Walter by mistake, and they're like, oh crap, Gunther was supposed to lose.
I will give Hudson credit for taking these chops. And honestly, Duke Hudson's a big dude. He looks basically the same size as Walter when you watch this. I actually liked LA Knight and Walter's interaction afterward, especially Walter's thing about, your mouth gets you these matches, but it doesn't get you wins. I thought that was cool. The MSK Knight alliance seems kind of out of nowhere, but as you said, I guess it's like
it's more of a
the enemy of my
thing.
enemy is my friend, kind of
Yeah.
whatever deal. Great. Grimes promo, he's frustrated and emotional after his loss last week. We see pictures of his father as a young man.
Couldn't get any match on the card.
Nope. Who is clearly, he's got his last chance now, right? So pictures of his father as a young man who is clearly a wrestler. It's him in wrestling gear holding a belt. So I did not know that backstory. And he says next week is the biggest match and his final chance to make the ladder match and make good on a promise he made to his father, who is now deceased. He will do whatever it takes to win this match. I thought this was good. You know me, I love reality being woven into storylines, even if it's like embellished or whatever, exaggerated. So I like this.
Right.
I was thinking about it, right? Grimes has burned through several characters in the past couple years, or at least even if it's not complete character changes, it's like subtle changes along the way. And he's generally makes the most out of all of them, right? So
sure.
Good for him. All right. Main event, Dusty Cup final. Wendy Chu and Dakota Kai taking on Kaylee Ray and Io Shirai.
Is there a real team in sight? Hell no.
Nope. Toxic Attraction are there to watch in the Toxic Lounge again, of course. So Chu and Io start out really quick, which A, was entertaining, and B, really limited Chu's stupid sleeping stuff. I think she only did one thing in the beginning where it's usually like 3 or 4 at a time. So that's a bonus. Chu and Dakota Kai then double team Kaylee Ray with running kicks in the corner. Chu blocks a 619 attempt with a pillow that she has, which was whatever. It didn't bother me as much as some of her comedy stuff. Irish whip by Io. She Irish whips Kaylee Ray actually into a suicide dive to one of the opponents before Io dives over the top onto the other in a pretty cool spot. We get a belly-to-belly overhead and a cartwheel forearm by Wendy Chu. She looked really good in this match, I thought, before her nap time elbow drop for a near fall. Wendy Chu hits a belly-to-belly overhead to Kaylee Ray off the top for a 2 count. 619 by Io to Kai before some sort of flipping move by Kaylee Ray off the second rope. I couldn't figure out what it was. It was basically like she did a flipping senton to somebody standing up. I don't know if that's a thing, but that's kind of all it was. A chiropractor by to Kaylee Ray. Sorry, Kai goes up top. We get the double stomp reverse splash that has been winning them matches, but Io broke it up. I thought this looked good too. She hits a missile drop kick to Dakota Kai. That's enough force that Kai falls onto the pinfall attempt, so I like that. We get a double underhook backbreaker by Io that looked good, and the finish comes when we get the KLR bomb and the moonsault by Io Shirai to Wendy Chu, and we
finish your sandwich.
So it's Kaylee Ray and Io Shirai pick up the win and 10 minutes win the Dusty Cup here. This was easily my favorite match of the night. Excellent pace. Wendy Chu did less of her comedy stuff, and I thought she looked really good here. If they could get her out of pajamas and just in some sort of other gimmick, I think she looks really good. So this tournament was pretty much a dud up until this point, but I thought this was a really good match. Wendy Chu really looking good. Just really good pace out of the gate. A lot less of the comedy stuff. No sloppiness, no glaring mistakes. Just a fun match to watch. A really good main event. I'm really happy. Like, I don't enjoy hating NXT, right? I don't want to dislike everything. So it really is nice that this show ended on a high for me. I quite enjoyed this match. Much better than anything else on this show, I thought. Overall, show wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good. Outside of the main event, I wouldn't say I really enjoyed any of the matches, and I could have, right? Like, in theory, there's some matchups there that shouldn't have been bad, but they were just very ordinary. A lot of young guys beating veterans in straightforward matches. Walter quickly beating Hudson. Lopez quickly beating Fallon Henry. Henley. Segments weren't great as usual, but I did like the Grimes vignette. Too much of Indy and Persia again this week. So the show passes. The main event's good. I gave it a C-, which is gross to say. That's probably better than the usual show, but still very uninteresting. Like, you're just trying to get through it is basically. I'm not enjoying anything. I'm just trying to survive, right? And that's not what I want. But anyways, that's going to finish up. You don't have anything in any of the wrestling business this week, right?
I do not.
All right, so let's move into our final segment of This and Every Week, where Jack's going to update us on the world of wrestling action figures and such. And that is what we call Figuring It Out with Jack.
So there are these like major wrestling pod ringside exclusive figures. They're all like one of 1,500. Like so they're limited edition. They're like these like small scale figures. They're like kind of like the new Superstars line. There's Cardona, Myers, Mark Sterling, and then a major pod ref. So it's kind of they're okay. It's just the only reason I'd get them is to like you could probably sell them later if they're one of 1,500.
Right.
They're still up on the site too, so I don't know if they just went up or if they're not selling fast, but so that's cool. And there's gonna be a second series of the Ruthless Aggression figures. I forget who's in it. I think one of them's Triple H.
Amazing.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow, that was a mini segment.
But that was pretty much it. Yeah.
Nice. All right, well, that's going to bring us to the end of episode 88 of this amazing podcast. Thanks to anyone who's taken time out of their week to listen to us. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
We will be... Are we doing a WrestleMania preview episode? Maybe.
Oh, well...
We'll think
so
about
it's on Saturday and... So, I don't know, maybe like... So, I feel like we could... On Monday, we review Mania as a whole. Maybe we sneak a preview, because we'll probably have... episode 89 out before we watch Mania, so we could probably fit a preview in there.
We might be able
and
to.
Then,
in any other wrestling business.
Yeah, it'll just be like, you might hear it as like Mania's on or something, but like, we'll have done it before Mania is what I mean.
Right.
Takeover. Now that I don't know how that works.
We'll figure it out.
'Cause that's during the day, so that's kind of funny.
But best thing you could do is follow us or subscribe or whatever, wherever you're listening to us, and you'll know
that stuff.
You'll know when we put out anything new. We'll definitely be back for episode 89 next week, and we'll see what else we come up with other than that. But definitely join us again next Saturday for episode 89. And until then, take care.